The Joe Rogan
this, which is ironic because like the WMD lie was to justify the Iraq war, and he's literally trying to do what is happening in the Iraq war with China, okay? Which I find to be the most ironic sentiment expressed here, because like he's literally like, I don't like that we warmongered against Iraq under false assumptions, so now I'm gonna warmonger against China. Like, he's one of the #1 China hawks in independent media, dude. It's crazy.
MD 2.0.
Catch new ep.
Which is hilarious. My criticisms of their show is like how nice they were to fucking. Wait, do we watch this already? Jim Palma? How nice they were to like Tulsi Gabbard and shit. Whenever I see people get like over the top, whenever I see people like who are over the top fucking nice to very transparent grifters like Tulsi Gabbard, I'm like, I question either they're like, you know, I question their nose for this, because you should be better, you should know better, or I question whether they're grifters or not. I think it's a big column A, column B with regards to Crystal and Sagar. Not a cover-up, but individuals can be biased. You point out how obviously other industries and employees habitually defend their paychecks. Yeah, but the issue here is like you're talking to people who are working at CVS that would be defending like a Walgreens cover-up of managers at Walgreens. You get it, right? And that's significantly less likely to occur, especially when like their research and the credibility of their research greatly depends on like their continuation and survival and doing the job that they're doing. Stop doing that. I will start banning you for using Jen as bait. You're unironically being ableist. Don't do that. It's fucking annoying. Don't do that. You know what you're doing. Don't do that. Well, you always should have copied Aiden Ross. He's my idol, dude. I love him. What does it mean? It's tone indicators for people who have autism and shit, who can't like who often use it to show tone across on the internet and shit like that. And it's also just to demonstrate tone, which is something you can't translate over text. Tony Lane stream tonight, playing Uno with Seth Rogen tomorrow. Friday, I'm gonna stream some games with SSB, and Saturday I have a hot tub stream with Summer Rae. I'm gonna be back on my main grind, locked in. Fuck yeah, dude. It means genuine question, yeah. I find it funny, if some American ragtag conservative fish market started this virus, you would have been lambasting the U.S. to this day for starting the virus, yet you're so hands-off to China. Why is that? I find it funny that in the hypothetical that I made up in my mind, you would be reacting entirely differently, even though I have no evidence whatsoever. So I thought up a situation where you would, like, I literally made up a situation, made up your reaction to it, and I want you to address that right now. Curious. That's cool, man. Let me play into your delusions a little bit further. Yo, you got me good, dude. Are there other hypothetical situations where you have also made up your mind on how I would behave? What are we doing, dude? What's up? Respond. Respond to this made up situation. Like, dude, that is so... That's like rad lib shit right there. You know, when people are like, what if hypothetically you actually did commit a microaggression, but when you didn't? Or I assumed you committed a microaggression when you actually didn't. So I'm going to get mad at you. You need to apologize right now. It's like, no, I didn't do that. You made that up. That's in your head. Why am I supposed to apologize for what you just made up? It's murder time.
In the lexicon of forensic science, few terms have come more into the wider public consciousness than DNA evidence. DNA analysis was first put to the use of solving an open murder case in 1987, when 27-year-old Colin Pitchfork was linked to the rape and murder of two 15-year-old girls. Linda...
There is a little bit of blood in this one. Murder is back on the menu, boys. Get in now. Trigger warning. www.twitch.tv/HasanAbi. Murder is big on the fucking menu, boys. Murder is big on the fucking menu, boys. We love the fucking murders, don't we? We love them. We love to watch murders, don't we? We got a fucking craving for murder. The narrator is Kiwi, not Australian. See you on fucking murder, buddy. See you on fucking murder, buddy. Let's fucking go. It's time for the fucking murder. We're doing JCS imitations. We're doing JCS imitations. Let's fucking go. Yo, you might not have the time to check out another murder story just happened in Ontario. What? I was waiting for people to come in to be as polite as possible. You know what I mean? On a scale of reacting to the TrueCon for 6 hours a day, the full-time gamer, how likely are you to provide rations to the gaming frogs tonight? Very likely. Very, very likely. Very, very likely. Also, I was looking at fucking Greek, like, talking shit on the timeline about me doing reactions when Greek literally used to show me which videos to react to, because he is, like, literally the OG React frog. He said... I said, Joe Rogan is having some left-leaning content creators on this week, so we're back to watching his shit. You should talk to people like Joe and make your own content. I think that would be really good. I said, no, smile. He said, you're right. You're right. What am I kidding? That would require for you to put in effort. Fuck that. And it's like, you think I wouldn't go on Joe Rogan's show? Like, I don't understand. Like, obviously, I would go on his show. Yeah, I mean, that's not a problem. Just go on Joe Rogan. Forehead. Yeah, sure. If you guys got an in, let me know. Would you consider removing your banner at the top of at the bottom of your screen? I watched thousands of hours of you on my OLED, and it's going to burn my pixels in, which is almost as bad as being at the top of the hour for a 6-second ad break. Oh! It is top of the fucking hour. The W banner stays. Otherwise, how the fuck would people know I'm a W streamer? I'll move it around for you, though. Like up here. Is that better? Make sure that you don't get it. It is time for a 6-second ad break, though. And if you'd like to no longer see said ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do it for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime or with an VPN or an ad block. Here's the ad break now. Okay, hold on 1 second. I gotta grab something real quick. Oh. Can you put the power back? Is triggering me? No. Bezos puppet. Bezos puppet doing another ad break.
Man and Dawn Ashworth after the DNA profile from his blood.
Wait, hold on. Where is the fucking... There's like a little bit of blood here.
Blood sample matched that of the semen found on the victims. Over the course of the decades that have followed, the prevalence and quality of DNA testing
Oh, what the fuck? It's not even real blood. God damn it. I was worried.
has steadily risen. Where once a blood sample the size of a quarter was needed to render a reliable profile, now
Like, I literally thought it was real blood.
remarkably scant amounts of matter can be used to confirm or exclude the culpability of an individual with increasingly staggering degrees of certainty. But in the year of 1997, the technology was not quite where it needed to be to resolve the disappearance of 8-year-old Kirsten Hatfield. On the night of May 13th, Kirsten was put to bed by her mother in their home on Jet Drive, Midwest City, Oklahoma. The next morning, she had vanished. Her bedroom window was open and small bloodstains were found on the sill, as well as on the 6-foot cyclone fence in the backyard, where Kirsten's torn underwear was discovered, also stained in blood. The blood samples were used to create a DNA profile, but unfortunately, no suspects at the time of the investigation were a match, and the case went cold. In addition to the devastating grief that must come with losing a child, the ambiguity around the culprit's identity would burden Kirsten's parents with yet more anguish in the form of suspicion. Due to the absence of a match from any acquaintance suspect, and skepticism that a girl of Kirsten's age could have been taken in such a seemingly violent manner without making enough noise to alert anyone, suspicion that someone in her family played a role in her disappearance circulated the ranks of Oklahoma law enforcement. For the nearly 2 decades Kirsten's case remained totally cold. Midwest City Police reopened the case in 2014 based on a tip. In the process of the new investigation, the blood samples were retested by the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation to create a new and substantially more precise DNA profile. Investigators also re-interviewed multiple persons of interest that lived in the neighborhood on the night of Kirsten's disappearance. Among them was 56-year-old Anthony Joseph Palma. Palma lived just 2 doors down from the Hatfield residence. Though it wasn't known at the time of the original investigation, he also had a slew of sexual assaults in his past. Wanting to appear helpful and avoid suspicion, Palma readily made himself available to investigators and agreed to provide them with a DNA swab without objection. The subsequent test resulted in a match with a certainty of 263 sextillion to 1. It likely goes without saying that physical evidence of this magnitude is essentially insurmountable, with the odds that the blood found on Kirsten's windowsill and on her torn underwear could belong to anyone other than Palma being incomprehensibly minute, and an innocent explanation for Palma's blood appearing in those places being comparably outside the realm of conceivability. One might wonder why police need to spend time on an interrogation in these sorts of cases. But aside from an outright confession making the state's job easier, the goals behind police questioning...
Yeah, I was about to say video over again. Dude, actually, after this guy always does this shit, dude, where he like literally will spend the first 5 minutes just locking you in, and then he trolls you in the end, and you're like, what the fuck? It's insane. Okay? He did this last time. He did this fucking last time where we were just like, all convinced of the sussy baka. The sussiness of the baka. And then he was just like, April Fools. And was just fucking kidding. Was just doing a fucking April Fools for you. So I don't know. Let's just keep going.
Vary beyond the most
I don't know anything about this case, so please don't spoil it, please.
Forward aim of securing a conviction. Due to the morbid circumstances surrounding Kirsten Hatfield's disappearance, her family had long given up on the prospect of her safe return. They had, however, longed for Kirsten to one day be afforded the dignity of a proper burial. To this end, detectives reasoned that if they could bring Palmer to terms with the severity of the evidence against him and the futility of maintaining his innocence, perhaps, even if for no other reason than selfishly attaining a small sense of redemption, he would grant the Hatfields that tiny morsel of solace.
I run on nicotine and caffeine.
We're the same age, and I tell you anymore, I drink a lot of water. I had some stomach issues, and the doctor says drink water. It really helps with the indigestion real bad. It's just chewing, but I won't give it up. But if I can sleep through the night or get about 4 or 5 hours without having to get up and pee.
Yeah.
About 6 o'clock.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
Bro, speak up, motherfucker. What is this shit?
That's me.
It may seem gratuitous to include the portion of this footage that simply features one of the detectives discussing his indigestion issues with the suspect. However, it is actually noteworthy. In the Reed technique, the most widely subscribed school of interrogation, investigators are encouraged to spend a portion of time building rapport with the suspect before even discussing the case at hand, let alone confronting them. It's advised that the investigator attempts to find commonalities with the suspect to instill a sense of trust.
Butyrol, sulfate, and something.
Okay. He's going to be nice to you anyway. Well,
I know you said no, but I was still guilty drinking.
It's a good thing both the murderers and the detectives oftentimes are demonstrate hog-like tendencies and will have like similar medical conditions, so they can vibe off of indigestion. You know what I'm saying? Oh, this is called the Pepto-Bismol technique. This is called the Pepto-Bismol technique.
Go to somebody and
I'm offering. Wade and them have a little advantage over me, Tony. They've met you before, and I want to I thank you for coming down here to talk to them.
Well, you know, as a state employee, you know, it's something we have to do.
Well,
We have to abide by all
right. Well, we appreciate
law
it.
enforcement and all that.
And here's where we're kind of bad. We're still looking at the Kirsten Hatfield thing, and we're going back and we're talking to a lot of people. And I know over the years,
You weren't there the first time they came down, were you?
you know,
no, I was with Miller the last time we came to talk to you about the other deal.
you over 17 years, I know in my life, I've changed a lot. And so we wanted to talk to you about if you can kind of tell me 17 years ago how your life was, how that neighborhood was.
In the lead up to this question, the detective is attempting to lay some potential minimizations of Palmer's crime. 17 years is a long time. I know I've changed a lot over that time. The idea being, when it comes time to go for a confession,
I'm sorry. I'm literally trying. I ran the ad already, and I'm literally trying to regulate the audio. It's not my fault. Okay? There's like, he didn't regulate it. Like, I know.
Palmer might feel as if he has permission to partially excuse his actions. I was a different person then. It may be slightly too soon to even allude to Palmer's potential culpability. In the early stages of an interrogation, the usual protocol is to take more of an information gathering approach, establishing the suspect's baseline of behavior for comparison later on. Still, it will be some time before the first direct confrontation, and Palmer certainly begins becoming more talkative.
What was going on?
Get a compressor extension? What else, dude? What else you want, dude? God damn, bro. Like, chatters are such fucking babies, dude. Jesus Christ. Just fucking lower the audio on your own. How about that?
In that neighborhood. I know I've read some of the reports that from the interviews before, and how
Edit the
it
video.
appears to me that they call you Uncle Tony around there because you care about the kids. You were feeding some of the kids.
Yeah.
And
Basically, when I
that nature.
lived there was a bunch of older people. That was like not no retirement place, but most of the people in that area were old retirees.
Yeah.
And, you know, I like doing stuff all the time. You know, I was always outside, and if somebody's working on their vehicle, got to go be busybody, hey, you know, and help them, or somebody's washing machine was broke down, and older people, you know, they can't, older people, you know, can't do stuff, and I've always been mechanically inclined, you know, where I could figure stuff out, you know, or help them move this, or, you know, just, I've always been, I don't know about friendly, but neighborly.
Right.
And that being my first home,
Right.
you know, I tried to make it where that neighborhood was my home.
Yeah. Well, did you help any of the kids over there?
Well, when the
feed them pizza?
Yeah, there's always, that's
You're
my
a Kool-Aid house?
Well, I don't know about Kool-Aid. That's always been my pet peeve, is I grew up hungry. You know, and there's a lot of kids hungry.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't like that.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not where I'd go out of my way, hey, you hungry? But I mean, you see kids, you're over there eating something, and they're just,
Right.
you know, you see them draw it, here, take it.
Right.
I can't stand that.
Yeah. As my partner, Lander said, we're still working on the Hatfield case, okay? And there's some things that we want to go back over with you. We try to be as thorough as we can be on cases like this, and I'd like to go back initially over some of what you've already talked to Detective Miller about in the past. I wasn't there. I'm kind of up to speed on some of it, but my understanding is when Kirsten disappeared, you were still living there
Yes.
at 1104, correct? Okay. Do you mind just initially kind of take us back to 1997 and go back over that, maybe that evening before and into that morning when all of it all kind of started blowing up, and just best you can tell us everything you remember. And take your time. I know we're going back some years.
Yeah, and I'm starting to get that old timer stuff. But really the only thing I can really remember is afterwards, you know, when, you know, because it was just a typical day.
You remember anything unusual about that evening that stands out to you?
No, other than what I told them about, you know, seeing the white truck, you know, in front of the white Chevy truck in front of their yard.
Okay.
You know, I like I said, I didn't have anything to do with those people. Didn't know them at all. You know,
Okay.
It's not like I went, hey, yeah, you got little girls. No, it wasn't nothing like that.
Okay.
I was outside working on my yard. You know, either talking to the neighbors, or kid would come by, Tony, can you fix my bike? You know, stuff like that.
You said you didn't know them. I'm assuming you're meaning Shannon and
Yeah.
Kirsten?
Yeah.
Or
And I couldn't even tell you how long they'd lived there.
Okay. I was going to actually ask you that. So you didn't know how long they'd been living there when this happened?
And going to think they hadn't been there very long.
And tell me what you remember about that. Do you remember seeing them move in or anything?
No. No. I'm trying to remember. There was a friend of mine lived in that house. I can't remember what his damn name is. But he had a janitorial service, Janny King. And I'd visit with him. I helped him put the fence up around his house.
Had you ever been inside that house when that gentleman lived there with you?
Well, yeah.
I'm assuming you probably saw Shannon and Kirsten running around the neighborhood and so forth.
To tell you the truth, until that happened, I think I seen the kid one time. She was playing with Crystal that lived up the street, but I don't remember if it was in that time frame or what. I really don't, because like I said, I didn't pay no attention.
If Palmer's innocence in this case was in any way possible, then the most suspicious behaviour from these last several minutes would be his consistent effort to distance himself from the Hatfield family as much as possible. He had a reputation as being a friendly neighbour, eager to help with repair jobs and who would sometimes give food to hungry children. There's nothing inherently sinister about any of this, in fact, quite the opposite, and having these traits would never make you the prime suspect in a child abduction absent any other evidence. But Palmer is adamant not just that he didn't have a close relationship with the Hatfields, but that he was barely aware of their existence, despite his neighbourly reputation.
Okay. Do you remember ever, like, giving food to Kirsten or
no.
talking to Kirsten?
No.
Was she ever at your house?
No.
Anything like that?
Again, just imagine you were innocent of any wrongdoing and you were asked if you had given food to a child. Would your reaction be this strong? Firm, forthright denials can actually be a good indicator of innocence, but they're expected in response to accusations rather than innocuous questions.
So there was never any time
No.
that Shannon asked for your help to
No.
fix this or that or mow the yard for me or... Okay.
Just tell you the truth, the only good, and I didn't even recognize her when y'all showed me the pictures of her. That was the only time I could actually say, okay, that's, I met her once afterwards. She was going up and down the street and, she was still looking for her kid and, I met her once. I gave her some money so she'd have gas money so she could keep doing what she was doing,
Was this like in the days after or
Yeah,
talking a long
days
time?
after.
Let me bounce back a little bit. We got off a little bit off track. I was kind of having you go back over what you remembered through the night, and I read over the FBI notes that they took when they talked to you. I guess there was some information about you hearing dogs barking.
Yeah, I had a dog in the backyard. His name was Dog. About 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, he went to raising hell. So I just, believe it or not, in my neighborhood, we still got skunks and possums and stuff like that, plus other dogs, So I don't know why that woke me up, but because I usually didn't wake up, and usually he's out inside anyway. But it woke me up, and he was barking at that back fence, at our back fence. But at the time, as you walk out my back door, I had an old apricot tree. So unless you went out there, you couldn't see. And I just hollered at him because, thinking it was another dog, because there was always, and traffic, there was human traffic back there. But usually it was other dogs, There was other dogs or cats. There was always animals through there. So I just, I really didn't think nothing about it. I just hollered at him and he came in and I went back to bed.
So you actually let him back into the
Yeah.
house?
Yeah.
So you opened, your back door, I'm assuming, and let him in? Did you go investigate?
No.
Did you look down the alley?
No.
Anything like that?
No, because usually in the past, whenever I did, that's what it was either another dog or people use that alleyway, to get through. Why, I don't know, because I don't know where you'd be going other than from house to house, but there was always, not always, but there was traffic.
Okay. And speaking of the alleyway, did you have any kind of a gate or anything that went out to it? So you didn't have access to it through your backyard?
No.
I think that'd be ideal to be able to go out into the alley and you could back a trailer up, and it just seems like everybody'd have a gate.
Well, the house next door to me didn't have a fence. So whenever I weed eated or, you know, did whatever, because I always weed eated, you know, 2 foot around from my fence, you know, next door, and then that alleyway, which the alleyway was.
Because I read your statement. You said you saw your gate ajar. Which gate was that?
Gate ajar.
Yeah. You didn't have a gate on the back or on the side? Did you have a gate on the side of the house?
Yeah, we got a gate. Well, it's a gate, but no, it wasn't a jar.
Okay.
Anything else that night after you let dog back in? Did anything else occur that you remember?
No, I went back to bed.
I don't know what the there has to be a twist to this, because so far there's literally no fucking twist at all. Like, I guess the twist is that, like, I don't know, that he's like being relatively compliant. Like, I don't understand. Is it a bit harsh? I don't think so.
Being dumb.
Okay. And then when did you first become aware of Kirsten was missing?
You know that I'm literally watching while also flipping fucking chicken tendies in the background, because that's what it takes, unfortunately, for someone to be able to stream for 10 hours in a row. So when you see that shit and you fucking turn around and criticize it or talk shit, I don't know what to tell you, because this is what I got. You can fuck off and go somewhere else. You know?
And all that's going on.
Well, the next day there was all that activity, and I asked the neighbor across the street what was going on. They said they couldn't find Kirsten, and I didn't think nothing about it, you know. I went to work, and then I don't remember if she called me or I called over there or what, and they said they was wanting people back, you know, because they wanted to go to our houses and blah blah blah. So somebody had called me and said that we were wanted back at our house.
Okay.
So I came home.
Okay. And then what happened?
I just sat there.
Did any of our officers or the FBI or anybody come by?
It was the FBI, you know.
Okay.
We came in, took statements, you know, walked through the house, and, you know, wanted to go in the backyard, and, you know, because I had a shed back there. He wanted to look in the shed, and...
Okay. So he did look through the house and look through the shed?
Yeah.
This is almost certainly a lie. In an earlier interview, Palma had told Detective Daryl Miller that an FBI agent had searched his house the day after Kirsten's disappearance. When Miller went to verify this, he found no records confirming any kind of police search on Palmer's house in 1997.
You probably don't remember who that was, I'm sure.
No.
Okay. And was he just asking you general questions about Kirsten, and did you know her, have you seen her, that kind of thing, or?
Basically.
Did you write out a statement for him, or was it just a conversation?
I thought he wrote out a statement.
Okay. Did they drug test back in them days? At your work?
Well, they always hung that over on us, you know, but we never had to got UA'd.
Okay. So it was kind of the threat.
Yeah. There was some of them say, well,
You ever had any trouble with the law, Tony?
Oh, yeah.
Before?
Years ago, first degree burglary and assault and battery with a dangerous weapon. I think I told your partner that.
Really?
Back when I was a dumb kid.
How long ago was that?
I think fixed to turn 18.
Oh, so you were just a boy.
Yeah. And all about it, my girlfriend.
Where was that at?
Walters, Oklahoma.
Oh, okay, up in Cotton County.
Yep.
In the last 17 years, Tony, have you changed much?
Here, the narrative of past regret that we saw a quick preview of at the beginning of this interrogation begins in earnest. This is a form of the minimization technique, where the interrogator will try to downplay the severity of the suspect's crime. Although neither detective has directly accused Palma of any crime at this point, they'll know he's certainly anticipating it. Their strategy is to give him time to come to terms with his actions through the prism of having done it as a former self. A different man than stands before them today. A sort of redemption by way of regret.
Is this how you were 17 years ago? Just a hard-working man?
Yeah, that's basically it. Yeah.
Okay.
I've changed older-wise, but no.
I'm not the same person I was 17 years ago. I've matured a little bit. And
I wish I could say that.
life changes people, you know. As you get older, you start recognizing things that you could handle differently than what you...
It's
if you had it
always
to do
so
over again,
funny.
you'd change.
Like it's always so fucking funny when the way they minimize shit is like, you know, it's like he's trying to come to terms and he's trying to level with like a pedophile, and the way he does that is by being like, you know, I stole some cookies from a cookie jar one time, and I tell you what, I mean, it's crazy. I felt exactly the same way that you do. You know, that one time it's like, no, motherfucker, he just did a child assault, okay? You know, we all make mistakes. It's like, how, dude?
Change, you know. I can
Yeah,
truly
but
say
that's
that.
the thing. We can't ever change it.
Yeah, no, you can't change what happened, but sometimes you can make things better. I remember a few years ago I went to my high school reunion and I seen a kid that honestly I just tormented to death.
The detective now goes into an anecdote about making amends with a man he bullied as a teenager, and Palma remains relatively reluctant to engage with the regret narrative, just letting the detective tell his story. This is fairly predictable as he knows what he's done and why he's here. It's a rather tedious portion of the footage to watch, which is why we're footing through it. But do note that what they're doing here isn't as meandering and pointless as it may seem on the surface. The interrogation itself hasn't begun yet, and the detective won't have any expectation that Palma will confess to the murder of Kirsten Hatfield just because he's fessed up to being a bully in high school. All he's attempting to do is provide as much psychological cushioning as he can for Palmer's self-concept so that he might be more receptive to minimizations when his undeniable culpability in this crime is laid before him later on. He's just again establishing that your past doesn't define your present.
He still picks on me though, so he really hasn't changed his
But
ways.
see,
Once a bully, always a bully.
but see, he like
He asked for it.
next week he's gone fishing. The week before he was gone fishing.
You get to go fishing
Yeah.
for a week?
Don't
I call it
discourage him
vacation.
because because when he's gone,
Do whatever you want to.
it's all right.
It's my therapy.
It's all right.
Actually, it is therapy. It's very good therapy.
It is, because I'm like you. I work. I mean, that's all I ever known was to work. But now my wife doesn't understand that working is therapy too, especially.
Well, I've always suffered from depression back when I was a young kid. So, and that always seems like working, I guess, gets your mind off of whatever it is you're thinking about, or you know, whatever. So that's all I do is work.
It gives you a sense of accomplishment too. That's one thing we really.
Especially when your folks tell you that you ain't worth a shit, you'll never amount to yellow beans and blah 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 blah. You know.
I know.
My only, well, the only thing that really, and that's probably getting completely off the deal, but when I left Walters, when I got in trouble with Walters, I was going out with an angel. I mean,
Good woman, huh?
my biggest mistake.
The first time Palmer engages with the narrative of past regrets, he states that the biggest mistake of his life was ruining the relationship he was in when he was 18 years old as a result of his conviction. The sly implication being that anyone guilty of child murder would not have the former as their number one.
Yeah, I fucked up big time.
Did you
That's the only time I can really
Just
say that
lose
I fucked up.
lose your temper?
Well, yeah, that's basically what had happened. You know, he was picking on her, and I had, like a dumb kid, had to go do something about it. You know.
Palma appears to be attributing the motive behind his assault and battery charge in Walters, Oklahoma, to avenging his then-girlfriend's mistreatment by another man. The victim of the assault in question was his landlord at the time, a woman who would later testify at his trial that he was attempting to beat her unconscious with a soda bottle and rape her. Her teenage son was able to intervene and stop the attack.
Not necessarily a dumb kid. Sometimes man got to do.
Well, now, you know, there's other ways of doing stuff, but, and of course I've been drinking.
Right. That's not the best decision-making
No.
process. Conducive to great decision-making.
Hey, to get back to what we're here about, I mean, you've been living there all these years since Kirsten went missing. I'm curious about your thoughts on what happened, who might be involved, that kind of thing.
I don't know, to tell you the truth. Like I said, I didn't know him. But the one thing that's always bothered me, that she left, the mom. She went to Jones, I guess, with her dad or something like that. You could have got me off out of my house. I mean, I know, what if she comes back, or, you know, what if somebody makes a call, or, you know, something like that. There was no way I'd left that house. That's the only thing that bothers me.
Yeah. So you felt like she shouldn't have left, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you ever at any point over these years, or back when it occurred, have any knowledge of what happened, or know who was involved?
No.
Were you in any way involved?
No. No.
So you're not responsible
No.
for Kirsten's disappearance?
No.
Didn't play any part in that?
No. Like I said, didn't know him. Didn't have, like I said, I just barely, you know, might have seen her once, twice, playing with the kids, but other than that, I didn't know him.
What, just out of curiosity, what do you think the motivation was of whoever did this? I mean, why would this have happened?
Well, then I couldn't have told you, but after, over the years, you know, and hearing the rumors and this and that and the other, it always boils down to drugs. You know, I heard that she was on meth and cocaine and all this other, and Dawn's wife was the same thing. You know, she said, yeah, she'd been over there.
This is called I couldn't have done it personally technique, followed by, you know, maybe it's the dad.
You know, that night, and they got lit up. So apparently she did get lit up because...
Listen, boys, I don't care that chatters are being fucking annoying. I'm back.
You know, if somebody did come in, I mean, wouldn't you have heard it? I don't know.
So
but I know
does that
some
mean
people.
that she left Kirsten home alone, you think? Or?
I don't know, I'm sure she did. But I don't know. Like I said, I didn't know. And I really didn't pay much.
If chatters being annoying deterred me from streaming, I would literally quit streaming. Like, I would have to quit streaming if chatters being annoying fucking stopped me. You know what I mean?
Much attention to Don and his wife. It's just...
where did they live? I'm pretty sure
kind of
that's
catty
all
corner
this.
for me.
Straight
Little White
across the
House.
street?
Not straight, just catty corner. A little White House, catty corner for me.
Okay.
And they had 2 or 3 kids, and I'd come home one day, I was rewarding myself. I did something, and I was stopped at Kentucky Fried Chicken, got me a family pack of chicken. I was going to go down. And the kids, whenever I walked up, they was just, the way they were eyeballing me, you know, like they hadn't ate nothing. I mean, they were really, if you'd have seen them, you'd have thought that too, because I mean, they were skinny. So I got me a piece of chicken, I was chewing on it, and they just, you want some chicken? Yeah. Is it all right if they can have this? Yeah. So I just gave them the whole damn thing.
From looking back over the history, I understood that Shannon's brother, I guess, stayed with you for a short time.
Aaron.
Aaron.
Yeah, Aaron.
Tell us about that. How did that happen? And
He was in the neighborhood, you know, he's apparently looking for, you know, his niece. So I'm out there one day, and he stops and he talks, you know anything, and blah, 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 you know, and we just got to talking, and, you know, he's living in a damn, you know, under a bridge, and dude, you know, I found out already that night that he'd been locked up, you know, so he wasn't a suspect in my books.
now, did you know Aaron at all before?
No.
So you'd never met him, never talked to him before either? Did he ever confide in you anything about the case or anything about
Just that
Shannon?
he couldn't clear his sister.
Chat, this is frozen rice that I microwaved and put in my and cooked with my curry sauce. This is curry chicken. That's what I'm eating. That's what I've been eating nonstop for the past month or so. There you go.
Those words will always, you know, I can't. The way
Microwavable
he
bags
said
of frozen rice.
I can't clear my sister.
And it's fucking delicious.
So he was suspicious of Shannon, huh? Did he ever give you any real factual information that would be beneficial to the case?
No, like I said, I'm here on my own free will. If I had any information, yeah, I'd give it to you. Because that'd be the same thing if something were to happen to my daughter. My God, yeah.
We've talked a lot about kind of the background. I want to kind of talk to you about some new information that's developed in this case, okay? As you know, Detective Miller got some buccal swabs from you.
Yeah.
A couple months back or whenever it was. There was a reason for that, okay? And we collected DNA samples from lots of people, but we had resubmitted some evidence from the case and got a DNA hit, okay?
Okay.
The reason those buccal swabs were being collected was we were trying to find the person responsible.
Motherfucker said, Masaman curry is boring white people food, dude. Yes. The famously white person food of Masaman curry.
Okay. We talked about, had you ever been in the backyard, had you ever been in the house, all those things, and you said you hadn't.
Not while they were there, no.
Okay. Well,
Sometimes, when a person is experiencing profound anxiety, they will release a small amount of gas from their upper digestive tract. If you pay very close attention in the seconds to come, you might be able to catch Palma exhibiting this symptom when he is faced with the first direct confrontation.
I don't believe you,
Oh,
Tony.
Oh.
I don't think you're telling the whole truth, okay? Your DNA is in the backyard the morning that she was discovered missing, okay? And on her window, and on the panties she'd been wearing the night before that were recovered in the backyard.
no. No, not me, because no.
Denial in the face of such staggering evidence may seem farcical, but from a standpoint of pure self-preservation, this is actually the correct move from where Palma is sitting at this moment. In the United States, investigators are permitted to lie to suspects about the evidence they have against them. It's a source of much controversy, but is not a factor in play here.
Yeah, that's the truth.
I find it far-fetched, but no. Because I don't know, I didn't know him.
And maybe you didn't know him, Tony, but we need
And
to...
I didn't have no business over there, at all.
That may be also. What we need to talk about is what you were doing in that backyard that night and what happened. We need to get to the truth of
I
what
have
happened.
no idea what you're
Yes,
talking about.
in the United States,
Were you trying?
in the United States chats, cops can lie to you about the evidence that they have and be like, you're done. You never see that in movies? Like, they'll be like, you're done. The other witness saw everything. Chat lies to me all the time. Your friends ratted you out. It's over. Dude, honestly, like, please see yourself out of this community, okay? If you're backseating how I eat, that level of parasocial behavior is so fucking weird. Like, literally, just like, it's too much, man. It's too much. Please stop. Please just fucking shut the fuck up and keep it to yourself. Go backseat your mother, dude. God damn.
Trying to help Kirsten?
No. Like I said, I didn't know anything about them people at all. Nothing.
It's so weird.
Nothing. Never met them. Never said hi, bye, nothing.
Well, here's our problem with that, is how did your DNA get there then? You're going to have to explain this.
I
If
don't
you were
know
there,
how I do it.
if you were there, if you were there because you heard her yelling for help from your backyard, and you go over there to see because you knew that her mother was a meth head and that she was probably at home alone, and you went over there to help,
No.
and you went to the backyard to avoid a conflict with the mother, and you was just going to take care of this little girl because just like you, growing up, you didn't want her being treated that way.
Not me.
That's how understandable things become.
The detective should be applauded for his vivid imagination in crafting the scenario. This is an alternative question. Investigators will routinely offer a more palatable scenario for how a crime may have come to transpire, as people find it much easier psychologically to admit guilt if the admission is coupled with morally justifiable conditions. This isn't just because such conditions might lead the suspect to believe they'll be met with more leniency in the courts, but also because it preserves the quality of their self-concept and the way they think they'll be perceived by others. The approach will not prove to be effective on Palma, and this is understandable. There is nothing in the scenario he's being presented with that would explain his blood's presence on Kirsten's underwear, and he is rightly calculating that there is no circumstance that would lend moral justification to the abduction, presumably rape, and murder of an 8-year-old girl.
You like it?
I think I'm gonna do this for the first time in a long time. It's like fucking unbearable, dude.
I understand that, but I don't understand how you're
Maybe
getting
you-
my DNA.
Maybe, well, how is your blood there?
I have no idea.
Well,
Y'all are being fucking super weird. The moment I called it out, like, more people started chiming in to be like, I know you're like joking. You're like, oh, just chew 15 times? It's fucking annoying.
I wasn't there at all.
we weren't there either. All we have is this, the evidence that was collected. I didn't collect it. It was collected 17 years ago, Tony. But it's there. And we have to deal with this. And you're saying you were never there.
No,
There's no reason it should be there.
no.
It's not helping your cause. What's going to help your cause is to explain to us how it's there.
I
Because the
don't
fact-
have a clue.
Your blood is in that backyard the morning that she's discovered missing, okay? This is your chance, Tony,
I understand
to
that, but
Explain
what
that.
happened. Maybe you didn't mean
no.
for whatever
I was
happened to
not
happen.
there.
You were there.
You were there. Was
There's
you
no
in
doubt
a
about
depression?
that.
Was that a period when you were going through a depression and drinking and getting depressed, and you don't remember until later what actually
No.
occurred?
I don't even think I was drinking that night. Tell you the truth, I might have been, but I don't think so. And I was in bed. And
So
I'm
you said
pretty
the
sure I
deal-
don't sleepwalk.
This isn't a deal where you got drunk the night before and actually went through with some urges you had,
No,
whether you're attracted to little girls
No.
or whatever your
I've
thing
never
might
been
be.
attracted to little girls or little boys.
Good save. Covering all of his bases technique.
Well, once again, how is your blood there?
I don't know.
Do you not believe me when I tell you that we have your DNA?
No, I don't.
You don't believe me? This is our OSBI results. I kind of, no disrespect, I get the impression maybe you don't believe me when I told you what I told you. So I want to just bring you the copy directly from OSBI, and we've highlighted it here for you, okay? I just want you to understand that this isn't...
What the fuck does he know about this? Like, you might as well have a piece of paper on here that just says you're guilty. I don't think he knows how to process that information. You know what I mean? Like, anyway, it doesn't matter. I mean, he's guilty as fuck regardless, but... I just realized the difference in the size of the chairs. I don't know if that's a technique or not, but like he's literally in a baby seat. It looks like they put him in a fucking child seat in the corner and they're over here sitting on like adult seats.
You see those odds? Those odds, I can just tell you from my years of experience, I've never seen at that level.
You might need to hire an astrophysicist. You want to fucking make sense of those odds. My friend, you might need to be hiring yourself an astrophysicist who's got a PhD in an Italian school. Make sure you justify them odds. This is what is known as the dream technique.
Which means this is your DNA. Okay, this is your blood, Tony. Okay.
I don't know.
Here is, that's Kirsten's panties that her mom identified that she had on that night. And that's where your blood was found, as well as on her windowsill. So this isn't just a, and just so you'll know, we also located some blood on the fence picket, and it's still out for testing, but I suspect that there's a good chance that'll come back to you.
I can't explain it.
Tell me what happened. How did you get injured?
I'm trying to figure it out myself, what all this is about.
I mean, this motherfucker was like, I've literally never been around this family. I've been around every other family, especially children. Sus. Okay. Super sus. And then, having said that though, this particular family, I've never been around. I just, you know, only, just kidding. I've only been around when they look hungry. And now, maybe I was bleeding when they looked hungry. Who knows?
I mean, you were in some way injured for your blood to be on her window and for your blood to be in her panties. What I want to know from you, was there some kind of a dispute between you and Kirsten?
I had no dealings with those people, didn't know nothing about them.
I believe
At
that.
all.
I believe that. But I also believe that this is your DNA on her windowsill and your DNA on her panties in the backyard. Let me ask you this. Your wife told us that every year on Kirsten's anniversary that you're upset about it, that you go through a phase of being depressed and upset about it.
And the reason that is, it's on the news, and yeah, how do you feel about it? Well, yeah, I'm going to be upset. I mean, it's a missing child. Duh.
If you want to carry it to your grave and not do what's right, that's on you. But you need to think about what you're doing, because right now,
they're actually doing a pretty good job, though. They already fucking caught him. They already have the evidence. They revealed the evidence that they have on him. And now all that's left is like for him to tell the family where the body is. It's not like they need... I mean, it's always better to have a confession, obviously, but it's a pretty solid. It seems like they're gonna get the shit out of him.
Think about how's my damn blood or meat, because I was not there. And I know in that night I was in my same mind. I'll read that. Did we go?
Yeah.
I don't understand it.
Well, it's pretty clear.
Yeah.
You know how big 16 is?
Huh?
No such thing.
Huh?
No such thing.
That's not a sexy number. Not for you, anyways.
Too big.
Yeah, it's too big. I mean, you can line people up from planet Earth all the way to the moon.
You remember me, don't you? I mean,
Low-key, Oklahoma cops are doing a solid job right now, which is actually surprising. I was not expecting that. This motherfucker peek at the camera?
No such thing. Too big.
Yeah, it's too big. I mean, you can line people up from planet Earth all the way to the moon.
Oh my God. Bro, he literally looked at the camera. Look at this. This is the "you're fucked" technique, dude. He's just like, it doesn't matter no more. I'll do a signature move here.
you remember me, don't you? I mean, I've been working on this case for 2 years. Here, look at me real quick. I've been working on this for 2 years. I've got a little girl that's about her age, Kirsten's age at the time. And this case is all I think. This case has taken over me, and
I can imagine.
It's all I think about, you know. And I told you earlier on, you know, all the cases I work is crimes against children cases. So my whole life, I go home, I have kids. I come to work, I deal with kids.
The fucking dude is like, unironically, surprisingly chill for like someone who is mega fucked. You know what I mean? Like, he still hasn't like lost the plot, behaved in a way that is like shown obvious guilt.
You know, and you seem like you said in our past, you know, conversations we've had, all you do is you care about kids. You take care of the neighborhood kids, and you got a heart just like me. Yeah, and that's what we're trying to figure out, Tony, is how is your blood, your DNA get on it? And you were there when I took your sample from you, right? We had an unknown male profile DNA on her panties and on her windowsill.
It don't make no sense to me.
All I'm concerned about is where's she at? Tell me.
I'm sure.
Where's she at? Help me find her. I mean, we got pictures of windowsills and the windowsill that day. You know, we go right down the line with all these pictures. You know, you say, oh, I mean, everything. Of course, today it's a totally different ballgame. There'd be 500 pictures of a windowsill, and it's all there. I mean,
did you figure out the print?
Yeah, those are kids' prints there.
That's a vibe failure. Bro, this dude keeps burping, dude. It's so funny. The burp actually is not a failure of a vibe check. Contrary to popular opinion, being over the top gassy can either mean you're in a place of such profound comfort because of how innocent you are that you don't mind flatulating or burping, or you are having an unfortunate gastric reaction to the overwhelming guilt and anxiety that you feel. I really shouldn't be using this voice when I talk about this shit. I just realized, because like, I'm just kidding. That's like, I just totally made that up. And that's not like a real thing at all. But it sounds way more legitimate when I say it like that.
I was not there the day before, that day, next day. I know.
But we need to figure this out.
Yeah, you do.
But you're my key. You're the only one that can help me, Tony.
Cops never have work indoors.
If I could, I would, because it's making me look real bad.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm not going to browbeat you. I'm not going to be mean or anything, but I need the truth. I
understand. I need the truth, too.
I need to find her. I need to find Kirsten. Help me find her.
I can't help you.
Was there somebody else involved?
I can't help you on that either. No, I didn't help anybody or help myself take this girl.
Very convincing. Wow.
Then how do you explain the blood?
I don't. And I can't.
You gotta, let me see your arm. You have a scar on your arm. What happened there?
I was picking up a toilet bowl and it cracked
When was that?
last year.
Hey, I don't mean to be rude. I'm Major David Huff.
Hey.
I'm pretty much these guys' boss. The guys have been out there kind of talking to me about the interview.
And I'm here to tell you, you're fucked.
What do you say? Let's take a break for just a minute. I don't want you getting upset at us. We really are trying to get to the truth, but I don't want you getting upset with us. Take a drink of water. We'll just relax for a minute, okay? We'll just take a deep breath. All right.
Okay, this dude is literally, I mean, I know he's doing good cop, bad cop. But I am still shocked that a cop was even able to fake being good to this degree.
I
Can I go
know.
outside and smoke a cigarette?
Okay, he's now, oh, he's
Yeah,
he's out of
come on with
pocket.
us. You're gonna have to go with us, though, okay?
Okay, yeah, I understand.
Oh my
Pausing an
God!
interrogation at this point is a rare move. The standard practice is to keep pressure on until the suspect offers something investigators can work with, embracing the alternative question, for instance, or even merely walking back the extent of previous assertions. In this instance, however, Major Huff's
Are you fucking kidding me?
decision to break from protocol is understandable. The interrogation has now been going on for over an hour. The detectives have put their best evidence in front of Palma and continuously emphasized its magnitude, but Palma has stubbornly maintained his innocence. If the only goal was securing a conviction, they would have most likely charged him and let the evidence speak for itself in court at this point, but they are genuinely determined to recover Kirsten's remains. Their wager is if they afford Palma some time to relax as much as possible, then perhaps he will be able to better process the circumstances, reconcile to his fate, and try to win as much favor as he can by giving them the information they need.
They can't allow Palma to smoke in the area outside due to the presence of juveniles. So I'll have to let him smoke in the interrogation room?
I can't explain this.
At first I was thinking like, what? Fucking smoking in front of kids is wrong? And then I realized like, oh no, because he's a fucking rapist. That's why.
And the only thing that I'm thinking right now is, yeah, I'm being set up because we want to close this case. That's the only thing that's coming in my head right now. Seriously.
Okay. Well, I understand what you're saying. I'm gonna be honest with you. When this first stuff, the stuff first came out, the DNA, I want you to understand how it works, because not everybody does this, so it wouldn't be uncommon for you not to know. The normal person that doesn't do police work doesn't know. The DNA that we got off of these panties, that was taken all the way back when it happened, okay? And it was put into a container where we could keep it indefinitely, all right? It's been there ever since the FBI took it. When they were helping us, it was there, okay? We had what was called an unknown DNA sample. We knew that it was human DNA, we can tell that.
That's true.
Oh yeah, right. We knew that it was human DNA, okay?
Whenever stories like this come out, I'm just excited that there wasn't like a black person in the vicinity. Because literally half of the fucking, I mean, more than half of the fucking exonerations on DNA are straight up examples like this story, where it's just like an unsolved crime, but there's like a black male in the vicinity of the crime, and they're just like, yeah, you did it, fuck you. Especially if he has like a record.
And we knew it was human DNA from a male. We can know that. What we don't know, when we got it back then, we didn't know the name attached to it. We didn't know whose DNA that was, okay? When the FBI and Detective Miller went out and got those swabs, okay, they got them from a bunch of people, all right? You being one of them. Then it was tested against a sample that was taken off the windowsill and off of the panties, which, by the way, I don't know if they told you this or not, but also has Kirsten's DNA on it. Because little kids, they do a little pee-pee in their pants and skid marks. So her DNA's on it, your DNA's on it, and it's also on the windowsill. That was all done way back when this all happened. It's just now that the DNA results have come back. And I don't know if they told you this. You seem like an intelligent man. So to help you comprehend when we're talking about when we say we know this to be a fact, the number sextillion, what this is saying, if you take a 1 and you put 21 zeros behind it,
Yeah,
it's yours. Anybody in the world, any scientist is going to say that that is your blood. Now, obviously, when we have a case like this, we're not going to, Mr. Palmer, we're not going to lay out everything that we know and everything we have. That's just not the way it works. It'd be counterproductive. We're not going to do it. There's more than this, but we want to try to get you to digest one thing at a time. Now, having said that, do we know all the circumstances?
This motherfucker needs digestion, that's for sure. Got him. Also, digest the ad at the top of the hour, chat. The sad reality is that I won't see what your reactions are because I've excommunicated you. Because you guys are being real fucking weird, some of you, about my eating habits. But that doesn't change the reality that it's top of the hour every hour and it's time for a 60-second ad break. And if you no longer want to see said ads, all you need to do is subscribe. You can do it for $5 or for free with a Twitch Prime. Or you can use an ad block, or you can use a VPN. Here it is.
Circumstances surrounding what happened that night, we don't. Only God, the person who did it, and Kirsten probably know that. But I'm going to tell you this. We do know that Kirsten was wearing those that night. We do know that your blood's on there and her DNA's on there. And that is just an absolute fact.
Right, yeah, I understand that.
This is what I think. I think that you're not an evil person. I don't think you're an evil person. I've heard about your work history. I know all that stuff. I know you're a dependable person, a hardworking man. I think on this one night, this one time, for whatever reason, some demon inside you made a mistake.
Okay, so here's the thing. I know he's doing it on purpose. Like, he has to fucking lure him in with a false sense of comfort. But goddamn, dude, that's a vibe check too that he just failed. Doesn't that kind of feel fucked up? And also, on top of that, like, if you're the criminal in that situation, like, wouldn't you be like, yeah, that's crazy that this guy's, like, very clearly trying to get something out of me? Because, like, no one would say that I'm simultaneously guilty of this heinous action while also maintaining the position that I'm a good person who, like, accidentally did some wrong.
The fact is there. Here's how we look at it. You know, I'm about to retire. You know, I know he told you he's got a young daughter. We want to know where this baby's at. We want to know where she's at.
Sure. No, I can't help you.
This is called I'm about to retire technique. Come on, just give it up, bud.
I don't understand any of this.
Tony, we need your help.
You have another one? I do. I smoke 3 packs a day. Unfortunately for me. If I could help you, I would help you.
Jesus Christ, he's just fucking blowing through bogues, dude. 3 packs a day is... Sheesh, that's a lot. That is a lot of cigarettes, dude.
I don't like sitting in this situation.
I don't like
This don't look good for me at all.
No. And I've done research on, you know, what happened when you was in Walters and stuff like that, and I've listened to part of the interview, you know, here this morning, and is there a chance that maybe you blacked out and did it? That you went over here and did something? You said something about you don't think you sleepwalk.
No. I'm just going through scenarios.
Okay. I mean,
And that was kind of being sarcastic.
Well, Techno brings up a good point. I mean, from what we've read from the report that happened there in Walters, that was a pretty horrific deal that happened.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows that it's somebody that can lose it.
Yeah, I
for
was a
whatever.
stupid kid that was drunk. And I still pay for that. That'll never go away.
I still think that one of the greatest counters of all time was when Jody Arias said, I couldn't have done this murder. I've literally never even hurt a spider. To this day, I've yet to see someone that is as, like, delusional as her try to get away from a credible murder accusation.
Well, what it comes down to is this. You know, we've had a lot of people in this room and interviewed a lot of people about stuff similar to this, unfortunately. And there's 2 kinds of people we deal with. There's the people that, when we present the evidence that we've got, and they know they've been found out, they stand up and take some type of responsibility and move on, or they deny it. And to me, that's the folks that are really evil. And I just didn't get the feeling that that was you. But I guess I could be wrong. It wouldn't be the first time.
I can't explain it. And I'm still sitting here thinking, April's Fool, y'all come up with April Fool. 'Cause that's...
no, not something this serious.
No, there's no April Fool.
Where do you think, if someone was to, the person that did do this, wherever they take her and dump her at.
In a last-ditch effort to find Kirsten's remains, Detective Miller tries to elicit a confession by way of a third-person account. You may not have done it, but where do you think the person who did would have dumped the body? It's a long shot to be sure, but not an approach without any precedent of success. Prolific serial killer Ted Bundy, for instance, first began divulging details of his crimes speaking in the third person, at length, while still maintaining his innocence.
If they would.
The difference between this guy and Ted Bundy is that, like, I mean, it might work, but I feel like Ted Bundy wanted to leak it, right? I don't know why I'm asking questions like, how am I going to see your responses? Damn, I fucking missed chat, dude. All right, I'm going to bring chat back. What the fuck? Uh-oh. Oh, shit. That was weird. Did it work? Can I write in the chat? I don't know if I wrote in the chat. It says you're sending messages too quickly. Chat, stop typing yo. Wait, let me see if I can do it. I can't even fucking time people. Oh god, Chatterino's so broken, dude. I fucking hate Chatterino so much. I mean, I love it. Obviously, I use it, but it's also so bad. Yep, there it is. Okay, it worked. Dude, oh my god. It's like having chat is like actually having 40,000 children. There's a fixed version. There's a fixed release I can give you later if you want. Yes, Aiden, that'd be fucking sick. Be fucking sick, bruv. Oi, Aiden. That'd be fucking tits, yeah? Never mind, you're not getting it. Oi, you fucking wanker.
Couldn't tell you. I mean, I watch all the cop shows and stuff like that, or what I do watch, and there's no telling.
People change, Tony. People change.
God save the fucking queen,
Tony,
yeah?
your home life, how you grew up. I grew up with a single mom that raised 9 kids by herself. And I'm about the only one out of my family that's graduated school that has a successful job.
Oh,
You know, people tell me you can't do that. You're a piece of crap.
yeah, and I showed them that, no. But
Right.
it's not about anything like that. I was not sexually molested or abused. I was hated, but I found good in this. You know, he taught me some shit, and that's helped me, you know, go through my life. I know some stuff. I know carpentry, I know mechanics, you know. I cuss him to this day because he hated me.
Yeah.
But
Jack of all trades.
that didn't turn me into a monster.
Yes, you
No,
want to
I was
go.
hated.
That Bundy wanted to get caught? Yeah, he wanted the media to know his
I
crimes?
think this is
That's what I
just one
thought.
time something happened and it went a little too far and something had to, you know.
Something went a little too far. This might perfectly encapsulate why all 4 investigators and their varied range of strategies have been utterly fruitless throughout this interrogation. If the death of an 8-year-old who you had no prior connection to was the result of something going a little too far, then what exactly was that something? Child murder is widely and rightly regarded as one of the most heinous crimes a human being can commit, made worse only if said murder is sexually motivated, and one of the most fundamental cornerstones of obtaining a confession is being able to lead a subject to believe that if they own the identity of a person who has committed the act in question, then they don't have to simultaneously relinquish their current identity of being a good person, or at least not a fundamentally terrible one. The investigators have utilized minimizations, alternative questions, rapport building, and feigned understanding. They've put the pressure on, They've taken the pressure off. They've appealed to Palmer's hope of redemption, and they've stressed his situation's futility, all to no avail. Perhaps one or more of these approaches may have worked if Palmer stood accused of some sort of crime of passion. If he had murdered his spouse, for instance, then maybe he could have been talked into believing that if he embraced a particular version of events, he could
Wait, that's literally what I said. The fucking narrators say the exact same shit, which is that, like, his crime is so fucking heinous that, like, you can't just be like, oh, oops, I sneezed and then, like, you know, raped and murdered a fucking 8-year-old. So they can't do that.
hold on to the self-image of something short of a monster. That's something we'll never know. What we do know, and what the investigators are soon going to finally resign themselves to, is that there's no version of events or hypothetical motivations that will let Anthony Palmer give himself permission.
Dude, I'm literally a detective. I'm literally a fucking detective now. Possibly one of the beasts. Call me Detective Hasan.
To own this particular crime. No matter how objectively, astronomically ironclad the evidence is that he's guilty of it, he is not capable of crossing that last psychological barrier of owning that and accepting what that says about him.
Hey, do you want to take a break? Give him some.
Pretty sure you pre-watch all these things? Yeah. Considering that I'm live for 10 hours during the day, and there is 10 hours of videos that I watch, when do you suggest I pre-watch all of the videos? In the other 10 hours of the day? Do you think I do not sleep? Do you think I, for 10 hours, watch all the videos, take notes on, like, where to say shit, and that takes, like, you know, 10 fucking hours of my day. And then, finally, you know, when the morning comes around, I've only had 2 hours of sleep or 4 hours of sleep. Someone said, you watch them at 2x speed. So I watch videos for 5 hours. So I watch 5 hours of videos. That's the amount of preparation that I put into this. So here's the question I have for you guys. Myth, he's minimalizing. He's doing the detective thing. I thought we called him. If I'm prepping, if I'm prepping that much for the stream, do you unironically think a $5 a month subscription is justifiable? If I prep that much for this stream, I would literally be like, you better give me 25 fucking dollars. Every single person needs to be tier 3 sub to me right now. Hasan, you're so great and you would never do this. This is the ego up technique. Fuck! I've turned this fucking community into a bunch of detectives. I can't get nothing by them. Well, they got me. They fucking got me.
Time to think about what we talked about.
Do you have any more? Do you have any more to smoke?
Not yet.
Well, go ahead and smoke for a minute. Let us go out here and talk. Once you get your head together, we'll give you one more opportunity to think about what I just said. Okay?
I do think it's kind of cool that you guys think I, like, put, one, that much effort into the stream, and two, like, that just means that, like, you know, that's the kind of content that you're getting from me. Like, I love that. You know? It's pretty cool. I think some of you actually think that now. Just saying. I like that. dude is just blasting through bogues, dude. Chain smoking.
Alright. Ask you again. Where's she at?
I can't help you.
Okay, I want you to understand too, and you probably already know this, you're not leaving this room today.
I understand that.
And you understand that it's probably going to be quite a while that you're going to spend in jail. Just because we don't have a body doesn't mean that we're not going to be able to charge you with anything.
I understand
I've got
that.
enough evidence against you. But, go ahead.
Tony, there's an arrest warrant in that deal signed by a judge, and it's for murder. And judges don't sign that unless there's probable cause. And to be fair to you, okay, to be fair to you,
a fucking cold-blooded child sexual assaulter / murderer. Let me be fair to you one more time as you're blasting cigarette smoke in my face.
you're not going anywhere. You're being charged with murder. And here's the deal I want you to remember. Right now, we're interviewing every one of your family members. You can probably hear it in the next room. We're already at your house.
Bro,
We will have back.
this guy is just trying to die before he goes to prison, okay? Like, that's the technique. He's just trying to fucking die from smoking too much. If that's even, like, you know, outside of lung cancer. I don't know if you can do that, but that's what he's trying.
Backhoes, ground penetrating sonar, cadaver dogs, the whole 9 yards.
No. We was laughing about that yesterday.
What's so funny about that?
That if y'all were to ever go in our backyard, I got dogs and cats and pets everywhere in that backyard. I don't know what the hell we was laughing about that. We was watching something on TV.
Like where you bury them?
Or animal show.
Well,
So we're not going to find, and this is your opportunity, because, I mean,
You ain't gonna find Kirsten Hatfield in our backyard.
or on your property anywhere.
No.
Where do I find her?
I don't know.
He is surprisingly maintaining composure that I've literally never fucking seen from a person who's caught so dead to rights. Like, usually the fucking criminals at some point buckle. And this guy's just fucking straight up blowing ciggies in their face going, I don't know. Never broke frame.
Did you black out and you took her somewhere and dumped her?
I didn't get her.
Who did?
Well, what we're gonna do is we're gonna leave it with you're that person that has no remorse, and that's the way the report's gonna read.
Okay.
Because what I'm seeing from you is you could care less if we ever find her, and
Yeah, I did.
you could care less.
Just put your cigarette out for me. Turn around for me. Put your hands on your back.
Dude, why do all cops literally have the same body? It's kind of wild. Like, I mean, they have the thumb. Like, you can actually tell how many years a cop has been on the force by looking at, like, how big their gut has gotten. And it's always, like, the same type of big. It's, like, stocky fat. You know what I mean? I don't get it. Like, we've watched so many of these fucking coffees. What? Oh my God. What is wrong with my brain today? We watched so many of these coffee and donuts. We've watched so many of these videos. Okay. Oh, fuck. What is wrong with me, dude? We watch so many of these videos and, like, they always look the same. I was gonna say movies.
Relax.
You're under arrest for murder, kidnapped Kirsten Hatfield.
Anthony Palma did not show much emotion this afternoon as that guilty verdict was read. This verdict comes more than 2 decades after Kirsten Hatfield went missing from her Midwest City home on May 14, 1997. Hatfield's body has never been found, but the prosecution argued Palma abducted and murdered the little girl. A key piece of evidence throughout this trial was a pair of Kirsten's panties found in the family's backyard. Those panties and the windowsill on the girl's bedroom had blood on them, and the DNA was a match to Palma. When the verdict was read, Kirsten's mother, Shannon, and her sister's Faith broke down in tears, and they spoke with us just minutes after Palma was led away.
I can't explain it, but we are just floored by this miracle, and we are so...
Chatter, I wonder that too. Why do they keep saying panties and not underwear? Like, am I weird for thinking that? Because I was like weirded out by it too, especially when it's like, aren't panties like somewhat sexualized? Or I mean, I don't know. English is, maybe it's an ESL thing, but I always thought that like panties were like a relatively sexual term, whereas like underwear is like the more medical way of describing it. You know what I mean? Undergarments. You can say undergarments. You can say underwear. Especially because, like, it's a little girl. Why aren't you saying, like, underwear? Maybe it's a Southern thing. I don't know.
thankful it puts our hope back into the criminal justice system. Thank you, Jesus. Yes. Thank you, Jesus, and thank you, everybody here.
Now, Palma will be back again in court here sometime next month to learn his sentence.
The man who
like, if you had friends and they referred to their, like, daughter's underwear as panties, like, I would be so sus. Be like, what the fuck? Why did you say it like that? You fucking weirdo. Chill.
murdered an 8-year-old child 2 decades ago will serve life in prison for her death.
Anthony Palma surprised the court when he waived his right to appeal his conviction. Kirsten Hatfield's family tells News 9 crime tracker Jennifer Pierce there's still one mystery that needs
Wait, if he waived his right to appeal, then why the fuck wouldn't he, like, say where the body is?
to be solved. Jen?
That's right, Bobby. Kirsten Hatfield's family was not only shocked but relieved when Anthony Palma waived his appeal rights. They think it's only a matter of time before he reveals where he buried their little girl 20 years ago. 58-year-old Anthony Palma made his final court appearance. He listened as the judge told him he will serve life in prison without the possibility of parole. Palma also waived his right to appeal his conviction. Prosecutors say it's an unusual move.
For what it's worth, I appreciate him doing that because this gives some finality to the family. Don't use the word closure because there's no such thing as closure. They still walked out of these doors with some questions that need to be answered.
A question only this convicted murderer can answer. They want to know where 8-year-old Kirsten Hatfield's body is buried. She disappeared from her Midwest City home 20 years ago. Hatfield's sister and mother looked Palma in the eye in court as they read victim testimonies. They both told Palma they forgive him, but want him to lead authorities to their loved one's body.
Obviously, we've been praying for years, but we've been writing prayers down, and we hope that he's able to get them at some point and read them, but just so he can see how serious we are.
Palma remained quiet as he was led back to jail. He will be transferred to DOC custody and live.
Why are you doing all the ones about pedos? Why does that make you uncomfortable that pedophiles seeing justice make you uncomfortable?
The remainder of his life in prison.
I hope that that will bring him to a place of telling us so we can lay her to rest.
Apparently, he was murdered in jail. Which is, of course, usually what happens. Child killer beaten and strangled to death inside his Oklahoma prison cell. Found guilty of the 1997 murder of 8-year-old Kirsten Hatfield. Died 13 months. It took 13 months. How do inmates find out about his crime? I mean, they have access to the internet, man. And like news and shit. They know what he looks like. Family ordered a hit. I've seen this movie. No shot. No shot. Don't inmates actually get like internet in the library sometimes? Just not like social media and shit. Like very limited. Finish the video. There's a minute left. No, there isn't.
On January 11th of 2019, Anthony Joseph Palma was found strangled to death in his prison cell, only 13 months into his sentence.
Okay, there was.
At the Oklahoma State Penitentiary in McAllister. His cellmate, Raymond Pallado, also serving a life sentence for murder charges, was found to be responsible for Palmer's death. The motivation for the killing was deemed to be retributive, as baby killers have never been smiled upon in prison. His slaying could be perceived as a piece of morbid karma, but tragically, it served as one last devastation for the Hatfield family. Palmer died before he was ever able to come around to disclosing where and how he disposed of Kirsten's body, and to this day, her remains have never been found.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. But also at the same time, I mean, maybe do they get like retributive closure from that?
1998, 705 children have died in the United States after being left alone in a hot car. With an average of 39...
What the fuck? Hot seat the case of Justin Ross Harris? Wait, this is just about like kids being left inside hot cars? This is a huge issue in Florida. I would rather know where my daughter is, but obviously that's just me.
Such incidents a year. It's a scenario as horrific as it is counterintuitively common. The typical reaction...
Don't worry, Chad. I won't leave you in the hot car, okay?
...from the average member of the public, when one of these cases inevitably arises yet again in the news, may be an unusual combination of both profound disgust and sympathy. On one hand, it's extremely difficult for almost any parent to comprehend the level of negligence it would take to make this kind of mistake in relation to the one human being they should value and protect above anyone else. And on the other, the level of agonizing grief someone must experience after realizing their own carelessness was the sole cause of their child's torturous demise is impossible to imagine. And as it happens, there appears to be no rhyme or reason to the type of person who finds themselves subjected to this nightmare. Parents from all walks of life, educational and socio-economic backgrounds, have unwittingly let their child perish after leaving them in a hot car. The cause of this ostensibly inconceivable oversight usually comes down to a memory failure brought on by stress, distraction, a break from routine, or a combination thereof. In light of this, it is the sympathetic instinct that is most reflected in how these cases are treated by the courts. Parents responsible for a hot car death are often not charged at all. When charges are brought, they will almost always be in the vein of criminal negligence or manslaughter. Very rarely will a parent be charged with intentionally murdering their child by leaving them in their vehicle. Today we're looking at the case of one man who was.
Oh my God.
On the morning of June 18th, 2014, Justin Ross Harris leaves his suburban home in Marietta, Georgia, with his 22-month-old son, Cooper. His typical routine was to take Cooper to his daycare center, Little Apron Academy, then get...
Damn, this one. This one's going to be aggressive.
breakfast via a nearby Chick-fil-A drive-thru, and then head to the Home Depot Treehouse office on Cumberland Parkway, where he worked as a web developer. Once in a while, however, Harris would switch the order of the first two steps, and go to Chick-fil-A first for a father-son breakfast inside the restaurant before dropping Cooper off at daycare. For whatever reason, Harris decided this was the morning for the special treat, and the two arrived at Chick-fil-A at approximately 8:57 a.m.
Special treat?
After
Does
breakfast,
he mean like chicken with a side of murder? What the fuck? Going for a special treat.
Harris buckles Cooper back into a baby seat in the back of his SUV, gives him a kiss on the cheek, gets back into the driver's seat, and leaves the Chick-fil-A parking lot. He makes a U-turn on Cumberland Parkway and heads up to the intersection of Cumberland and Paces Ferry Road. It is here where on a normal day, Harris would take a left at the light onto Paces Ferry, which would then take him to the daycare centre. Harris, however, continues straight through the lights, up Cumberland toward the Home Depot office as if he'd already dropped Cooper off. He pulls into the Treehouse parking lot at approximately 9:27 a.m, parks, and after about 30 seconds, gets out of his car and heads into work. At 4:16 p.m, Harris leaves work for the day and gets back into his car. He then begins driving toward the nearby AMC theatre where he's planning to see the movie 22 Jump Street with a couple of friends. He never makes it there, however, as his car will abruptly pull into the Acres Mill shopping centre parking lot, just a block down from the theatre. Police arrive on the scene shortly thereafter.
Oh my god, audio is... Wait, I don't know if I can show this.
You work security, I need you to move everybody out, okay? Everybody back.
They don't show anything?
Hold on. We need to get the
What the...
Harris is detained by responding officer Jacqueline Piper and put in the back of her patrol car while first responders assess the scene.
Bro, how the fuck did they... I mean, he seems innocent. That's like something you would do in an innocent way. If you like... It looks like an accident so far. How the fuck did the cop... Like, the cop doesn't know it's illegal for him. I mean, I guess he thought the cop was like probably angry because he just like roasted his son, right? Like, so even if it's like negligence... Yeah.
Oh my god! Oh my god, what have I done? Oh boy! Oh boy!
After about 30 minutes, he is then transported to the Cobb County Police Department, where he's placed in their interrogation room to await questioning. There are many details of this case and of Harris's activities during the day that have so far been left out, and we'll be using the interrogation footage to begin unpacking them. One note on the footage itself: a common complaint from interrogation viewers is poor audio and visual quality. The Harris interrogation is in company with the worst of them, and this is because what you'll be watching is a video of a video. The only reason it's in the public domain is because it was played in full at Harris's trial, which itself was filmed and broadcast in its entirety. If degraded footage is something that usually tempts you to quit, take note of a few things. The content of the interrogation is still mostly discernible, especially with headphones. Key dialogue will be subtitled, and above all else, the interrogation of Justin Ross Harris is mostly notable for behaviour as opposed to anything that is said. So much so, in fact, that the most fascinating part of it is arguably the first 15 minutes Harris is in the room alone before detectives begin questioning him.
There it is, boys. We got... I was wondering if it could get worse. And here it is, dude. I literally was wondering if we would ever have worse fucking audio and video on one of these shows. And there it is in all fucking 12 pixel glory, dude.
Assessing the authenticity of someone's grief is not a hard science, to put it mildly, but the detectives observing Harris found his behaviour came across as performative. That went on to be the perception shared by many of the wider public, and it is also a contention of this video. As has just been alluded to, it's an important caveat to state that human beings exhibit grief in all kinds of ways, and it's impossible to predict exactly how any given individual will react to something as devastating as accidentally killing their only child. But whether or not the sentiment is misplaced, it's very difficult to watch Harris's behaviour in the minutes to come and not feel as if something is off.
Okay, first and foremost, number one vibe check is a failure when you consider the fact that he's got the worst haircut of all time. Remember this, he's a sassy little backer. But the first vibe check of the night. No one with a haircut like that is a normal person. Alright, this person's got a very bad haircut. He's going fucking straight to the jail. I mean, this doesn't look fake. Is this fake, chat? Dude, this video quality is so bad. Chat, how the fuck would you... Oh. God damn it, dude. I was literally in the process of being like, how can you even tell? The camera's literally 1p and then he stares at the camera, dude. Okay, Jussie Smollett is a better actor than this guy. Remember, you guys were making fun of me yesterday for saying that, like, Jussie Smollett can cry on command and how that's, like, somewhat impressive. This is what, like, a normal non-actor person is like when they're trying to cry. So what's up? Did they like literally play this in full in the courtroom? Okay, it's almost done. It's kind of funny that they were just like, Your Honor. They literally, I heard the prosecutor got up and said, Your Honor, I'd like to show you Exhibit A for your vibe check. Click. And then they just play this entire process, and then the judge is like, vibe check failed, bro. You're going to fucking jail. Those vibes are fucked.
Because crying is a physical reflex, a person who is sobbing in response to an unbearable loss will typically appear to have little to no control over what their body is doing. The intermittent bursts of Harris's weeping and other behaviours, such as his regular pauses for water, come across as someone who is forcing the emotions they're exhibiting and needs to take a break each time they run out of gas.
This is the fucking least emotional Reddit karma hoarder, okay? Karma farmer. Oh my god, they're doing a live react. They're literally doing a live react in the courtroom, dude. What the fuck? He's about to be like, Judge, just fucking throw me in jail. I would rather go to jail for the rest of my life than watch a single moment of this. This is the most... Are you trying to murder me by cringing me to death? Oh my god, he's like literally embarrassed. He's like, why did I fucking cry that much, dude? Like, it's like I literally would have gotten away with it, dude. Fuck. The Reddit thread that I got the information on how to fucking fake cry was unfortunately not by a real pro, despite the fact that all the Redditors suggested that he was a real pro. Honestly, if they kept showing this footage to him in court, he might have spontaneously combusted. Just out of sheer cringe. Bro, I love that the defense basically just showed this footage in court and was like they were just like, Your Honor, just come on. Come on. Or not defense, sorry, prosecution. Bro, this dude is not sad. Nobody hydrates this much, okay? Nobody who's sad hydrates this much. I'm sorry. Like, what the fuck? This motherfucker's drinking water like he wants to survive, okay?
One of the guys that here can be in trouble to talk to. The other ones should be here any minute now, okay? Now you offer you a little snack and then one that makes to you, but we got those snacks. So garbage can in case I throw up. Okay. We can do that, that's fine. Before we sit and talk, and I know you've been searched before, because we're going to sit here and talk a little bit. So just you go ahead and stand up for me. And all I need to do is I'm just going to check. So stand up to me. Just stand up here. If you want to turn, just face the wall.
I love when the subtitles just give up.
This is going to talk to us. All right, do your thing, man. I worked for Tuscaloosa Police for 5 years. What did you do? I wasn't a police officer. What did you do? I was a dispatch. But my brother was our sergeant. So what did you do for Home Depot? I'm a developer. I quit the police department to go back to school. Let's see. Understand. Is it Justin Ross Harris? Justin Ross Harris. Do you prefer Ross? Just Ross. All right.
Note again the seeming incongruities with a man who's apparently spent much of the last 15 minutes wailing in anguish. Not only has Harris completely and instantly regained his physical composure, there is also no residue of grief in his voice. He speaks clearly, and his vocal intonations never fluctuate abnormally in the way
you want to know something crazy? This motherfucker had sex with someone and therefore a child. Like, who would fuck this guy, man?
you typically see from someone directly after they've been crying.
Full start. I am a detective with the California Police Department. Absolutely. We're at California Police headquarters. You familiar with this place? This is my partner. Fine, good. I've driven by it a million times. Okay. It's my partner, Detective People. Oh, yes, sir. And English is your primary language? It is. Okay. If not, I'm doing a really good. You're doing very good. You'd be surprised. I did an interview with some French people, and their English was 100 times better than mine. Can you read that out loud, Frank? I've read the statement of my rights, and I understand what my rights are. I'm willing to make a statement and answer.
Tons of ugly people need love? Wait. Why is that what you got out of this? I wasn't referencing like the way he looks, motherfucker. That's what you think I was referencing? In an instance where, wait. This dude murdered his kid. He's like very clearly a psycho. And what you got out of that was what he fucking, like what his physical attractiveness looks like?
Answer questions. I do not want a lawyer at this time. I understand and know what I am doing. No promises or threats have been made to me, and no pressure or coercion of any kind has been used against me.
That there's never anything to gain for a guilty or innocent person by waiving their right to an attorney is something that's already been explained on this channel, and it would be gratuitous to point it out every time someone does so in an interrogation video. It's worth pausing to reflect on one more time in this instance though. Remember, you are literally watching this because the prosecution is playing it at Harris's trial.
Just run me through what happened, starting with when you woke up this morning.
Okay. No, I meant he's a fucking weirdo, dude. Like, his behavior here is weird as fuck. That is also piled on top of the fact that, like, you know, he murdered his own child. So obviously that doesn't happen in a vacuum. Just like the top of the hour ad break doesn't happen in a fucking vacuum, you incels. It happens at the top of every hour. Oh, fucking got him. And if you'd like to no longer see the ads at the top of the hour, well, there's a couple things you could do, like subscribing with a Twitch Prime for free. Yeah, it's 12 minutes early. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Or you can subscribe for $5, or you can use an ad block or a VPN. Here's the 1 minute ad break now. It keeps getting earlier and earlier. Soon we will have ads every 30 minutes. I mean, I literally do it in 1 hour intervals. So you are wrong. But sometimes I do it at like exactly on the dot at the top of the hour. And sometimes I do it earlier to fucking catch you slipping. He's trying to sneak in 30-minute ads? No, dude.
My wife and I, we're in a bed together. She left work at approximately 7:15.
Holy shit. I haven't seen a 3-year sub badge ever, I don't think, on this chat. Are people actually mad at you for this? Nah, some people are fake mad because I run an ad and I sneak it in because they didn't catch it. But I haven't seen a 3-year badge ever. That's crazy. 3 years. That's wild. Look at the 1.5 one. Yeah, motherfuckers, respect your elders, boys. Imagine being a Hasan sub. Yeah, respect your elders. You got 2-year subs here. Holy shit, that dude might be like literally the oldest sub I have. Respect. I mean, I've been on this platform for literally 3 years. So, and only recently, which means that dude's been in here since like day one. Like literally fucking day one.
Left the house with Cooper at about 8:30. Yeah, about 8:30. And the plan was I was going to take him to Chick-fil-A in Vinings, which I did. And we got breakfast, and me and him do that at Chick-fil-A in Vinings approximately 2 to 3 times a month together. We have our daddy son breakfast together. And after we eat breakfast, I usually take him across the street to daycare, which is at the Home Depot. And then I'll go to work, which is at an alternate location, which is I don't work in the big SSC. I actually work in an annex office off of Cumberland, 2600 Cumberland Boulevard. It's just a annex office of the big building. It's where my team works. And
We're leaving Chick-fil-A. I put him in his car seat. I got me kids on the Jeep. Like I always do. I always put him in his car seat. I make sure he's strapped in all tight. According to all the regulations that we watched on YouTube and everything.
Yeah, no, totally, dude. Yeah, no, sneak that in there. We definitely think you are a careful parent.
I strapped him in and tightened him up. I gave him a kiss. He gave me a kiss. What I do every time, it's my routine. I let him know I love him. I give him a kiss. Because I do that. Because if for some reason, God forbid, we're in an accident, I want him.
Lake McGroove is close. So close.
And I died. I would hope he'd have a memory of me, you know, telling him every time the last time he sees me that I love him. And give him a kiss. And just today was just careless. I got in my car, and instead of going from here to here, I went straight to work, which is I turned onto Cumberland, and I drove down Cumberland Boulevard. I went to work, as if he wasn't even in the back. And I probably didn't even hear him because he falls asleep really easily when you drive a car. And that's it. And I went to work.
After this, I'm going to do Ratchet and Clank.
I had a normal day.
Harris seems to be hesitant to itemize his day's activities.
Then I just go through my whole day of work.
Okay, hold up. Walk me through your work day. What happens at lunch?
Oh, lunch. Well, I mean, some days I just blow through lunch, you know, because how busy I am and all.
Really?
Well, pretty sure I did that once.
If it is deliberate avoidance, there's a very good reason for it, because Harris's movements during the day do not help support the notion that his leaving Cooper in the car was a genuine error he never clued onto over the entire duration of his shift. One particularly big red flag is his lunchtime activities. Harris went to a restaurant called Publix with two colleagues, Winston Milling and Alex.
Motherfucker, that's not a restaurant, dog. Fucking Kiwi doesn't know this. Publix is a grocery store. It's a grocery chain that has like a deli in it. Went to a restaurant called Publix. Went to a restaurant. Public subs are pretty good though. This is an anti-Florida hate crime. I mean, I'll allow it because he's like shitting on Florida, so I think it's allowable.
Hall. After lunch, the group stopped by Home Depot, where Harris picked up a package of light bulbs. His co-workers then dropped him off at his car at about 12:40 p.m. Harris then opened the driver's side door of his car and threw the light bulbs inside. The defense will contend that it's not reasonable to argue Harris should have realized Cooper was still inside the car at this point, because his line of sight remains above the car's door frame the entire time. From the security video, that seems plausible, but this is actually strange within itself. How often do people place an item in their car without looking into it for even one moment? And when considering which items someone would be more inclined to throw as opposed to gently place, something fragile like light bulbs would seem to especially warrant the latter.
Oh my god, a sick fucking freak monster, dude. Absolutely, oh my fucking god. Oh god, that's so fucked up.
Could it be that Harris, who would have been aware of the security cameras in the parking lot, was making a deliberate effort to not look inside the car?
So, you know, day's going good. Lunchtime rolls around. I got some guys that I work with across the street. They came and picked me up. We went to Publix, ate lunch. They took me back and dropped me off.
Oh my god. He's like literally running through it in his mind, doesn't want to say it out loud what he was doing. Dude, fuck this guy. Oh my god. Fuck this guy. Oh my god.
And then I finished the work day, and then we had plans to go to a movie. Me and the two guys on his lunch room, we had plans to go to a movie at 5 o'clock, which is where I was going. I was going to try to get there about 4:20, 4:30, just to kind of beat if there's an after work crowd trying to go to a movie or anything like that. I thought I'd get there a little early.
Horrible monster.
And as I was turning,
Chat will literally say anything, dude. Dude said 420 and immediately like on a fucking murder case. We're not even like 20 seconds removed from the dude being like, yeah, I basically saw my dead baby in the back seat. And chat's like, 420 blaze it, dude.
as I was driving down, whatever the name is right there by So's kitchen, Baker's Mill. As I was driving down Baker's Mill, I caught a glimpse of it when I looked to my right to change lanes. I caught a glimpse of it in the back. I thought I saw it. I thought I was seeing things. Then I saw him. And then I lost it. I pulled in. I pulled him out. And for a few minutes, I guess for what seemed like an eternity, but for just a few seconds, I attempted CPR. I couldn't compose myself to do it, so there was a group there. I'm pretty sure you got all their names. And they attempted, and I saw him laying there. And he had that stare in his face. I knew he was coming. Did you take him out in the car seat? I did. Okay. I knew he was gone. And how'd you know he was gone? Just because his eyes were open, like halfway. His eyes were open halfway. He wasn't breathing. He didn't have a pulse. And every medic training I've ever gone through, told me to check for breathing, check for a pulse. He didn't have either. I knew it. I just knew he was. I knew that I had done what every parent in their life fears they've done, and that's just leave their son in the car all that night. And I was trying to frantically call the daycare and tell them, because my wife was en route to get him from the daycare where he was supposed to be. And I was going to the movie, and I was trying to frantically call the daycare and tell them, when my wife gets there, don't let her leave. There's going to be people that are going to show up.
The way that they talk about daycare is triggering to me as a daycare worker. You know what I mean?
Because I didn't want her to be. I don't want to. Where is he?
As a daycare provider.
Talking to anybody on the phone.
We're not doing top of the hour. I already did it 12 minutes ago.
Okay. What kind of phone is it? It's an iPhone 5. Is it passcode? It is. Can I get the passcode? It's 0. I have no idea what the passcode is. Biometric. Oh, okay. Okay. I can't remember.
There are plenty of reasons for Harris to be less than eager for detectives to search his phone. There are many aspects of his weapon phone history that will go on to cast a cloud of suspicion over him. The big one that is especially pertinent to his phone is something that doesn't inherently implicate him as having intentionally murdered his son, but will absolutely decimate any hope he has of casting himself as a responsible church-going man who puts his family above all else. Harris is a serial philanderer with a chronic sexting habit. 6 women who he met online will go on to testify about explicit messages and pictures they exchanged with Harris through the apps Whisper and Kick, one of whom was 16 years old at the time. Some of those women will also testify that they had sexual intercourse with Harris. This is in addition to a prostitute whose services Harris solicited. In some of his messages, Harris admitted he was married and expressed a cavalier attitude toward his infidelity, stating that it did not affect his conscience. In one exchange with an 18-year-old named Janie Meadows, Harris stated that he would leave his wife for her if it wasn't for his son. Harris had been engaging in sexting not only throughout the day on June 18th, but even at 9:15 a.m. while inside the Chick-fil-A with Cooper.
Bro, this dude is like how is he capable of this shit, dude? Stop saying chat, she's 16. That girl wasn't 16. Shut the fuck up.
I'm going to finish your question. When can I talk to my wife?
Bro, this dude got fucking busy, dude. What the fuck?
We are trying to get in touch with her right now. I got detectives out there meeting her.
Do you know where she is?
Me? No, and once again, I won't lie to you. Okay? I believe they're meeting her at your house.
Okay.
Which of course is always the better place. Just that you're not in some strange place or something.
I just don't know what to do, man.
How's your relationship with her?
We have a really good relationship. and just like any normal relationship. You know, we've been married for we've been married for 8 years. Had our ups and downs like everybody else, but you know, I think we have a pretty strong relationship.
I mean, I guess for Georgia, like, he's a catch. I don't know. Like, I don't understand it, but like, I guess Georgia, like, maybe that's the, you know what I mean? He's like a Georgia 8, dude. Like, what the fuck? I mean, dude, he literally was sexting like 6 women. Like, how does that happen? Like, you know, he doesn't have a good personality.
We're about to find out if that's true or not. Is Cooper your first child? Cooper is our first and only child.
You're literally a Volcel, Hasan. I am not a Volcel. Okay, I'm full incel now. It's involuntary now. Okay.
How do you put him in that car seat? What do you mean? Like facing forward, facing back, it's a rear facing car seat. Okay.
The type of car seat Harris used and the way it was set up is arguably the cornerstone piece of this case in terms of why authorities were so slow from the outset to believe this was just one of the dozens of hot car deaths that happen as the result of a tragic accident every year. Up until now, when you've been imagining Cooper being left in the back seat, perhaps you've painted a setup in your mind that looks something like this. Or maybe this. Cooper's seat, however, was...
Wait, hold on. Uh-oh, I'm worried about this. 1 second. Are they gonna fucking show it? 1 second, chat. I gotta check. Probably not, but... No, they don't show anything.
And from the front of the car, it looks like... Or maybe this. Cooper's seat, however, was set up like this. And from the front of the car, it looks like this. Cooper's head would have been situated mere inches to the right of Harris as he drove from the Chick-fil-A to his work on a route that included a relatively tricky U-turn, as well as a right turn into work. The intersection at which Harris needed to make a left was only 2 to 3 minutes from the Chick-fil-A, where he had strapped the fully awake Cooper in and given him a kiss on the cheek. At one point in the parking lot at Treehouse, his car needed to back up, presumably prompting Harris to turn his head.
I like that it said not illegal at the time. Good, I was concerned that he was doing an improper U-turn with a child in the back seat. Honestly, that was... I mean, how dare he put his child in danger like that?
Head or use the rearview mirror. And as stated earlier, he remained in the car for 30 seconds after parking. No doubt the mind can do funny things, but this was all a bridge too far for the investigators.
Can I use the restroom again? You certainly may. Monday through Friday. During the week, it's just whatever hours, as long as you're there, and then you get weekends off. As long as I get my jobs in. Okay. How long have you had that job time right now, man? Lately. Yeah, because I can tell them that 2 years. That was 2 years last week.
Is it true that they actually had a Change.com petition for this?
You guys said you had a good relationship. Yes. Okay. How's money? Money's money. Okay. Student loan. Okay. Understood. Student loans the debt we have is student loans, small credit card receipts, $4,000, which just recently happened, and our cars that everything else, credit outstanding debt with it. Near perfect credit over 720 each of us, so nothing out of the ordinary. Both make decent, substantial salary, so $6,000 for $4,000, $6,000 we can say it's $4,000 on credit card. Not really worried about it. It's not my fault.
How did the audio just get worse? It's kind of wild that like at first I thought like it couldn't get any worse, and I was wrong. Actually, it could, and we got there.
Yeah, something we were going to take care of like as soon as possible, and then just call it in and say, she's our horses, we're planning a cruise on my brother. We're excited to take him.
The Harrises had been planning a family cruise. This is a good place to look a little closer at some of Justin Ross Harris's activities throughout the day, and how they play a role in the argument he suffered a genuine memory failure. The memory failure theory works like this. Nearly every morning that Harris dropped Cooper off at daycare followed this pattern. Drop Cooper off, Chick-fil-A drive-thru, work. Just once or twice a month that would change to eat in breakfast at Chick-fil-A, drop Cooper off, work. Because the former pattern accounted for about 90% of Harris's morning routines, he essentially constructed a false memory of having just dropped Cooper off by the time he got to the lights, and so he continued straight to work. This type of memory failure is absolutely a real phenomenon. Similar scenarios have happened with other hot car deaths, where there's been no suspicion the parent was using forgetfulness as a pretext for deliberate murder. In fact, in approximately 46% of instances where a child was forgotten, the caregiver meant to drop them off at a daycare or preschool. Some of the reasons the authorities are dubious of this one have already been explained, such as Harris's physical proximity to Cooper and the 2 to 3 minute window to forget his presence. Another one that will come up as they dig deeper into Harris's communications is potential cues that one might think would prompt Harris to think of Cooper and realize something was amiss. During the day, Harris searched for child passport costs and emailed a travel agent about the cruise arrangements. He also referenced Cooper in personal text messages during the day. And in the afternoon, he sent this text message to his wife Leanna that is particularly remarkable for not having set off any alarm bells.
I'm an absolute loss for everything. And what do you think happened? I'm going to let you just, explain to me how this happened. How do you think this happened? There are occasions where in the morning after I drop them off, I'll go to Chick-fil-A because it's on the way. And all those times I'll always go to the drive-thru and never go inside by myself. I'll leave Chick-fil-A, and when I turn out of Chick-fil-A, I'll turn on the tunnel, I'll take that U-turn, and I'll go straight to food. And I don't know if my mind just said that's what you're doing today, so just go to work. So I never leave in the car by myself. And I just watched news reports. There was a news report of a guy who did this, just like me. And now he's an advocate for when you park, you turn around and look at you. And I've been doing that because the worst fear for me is to leave my son in a hot car. And then just recently there was a vet on the internet who, said even if you got your windows rolled down, and regardless, I'm going to show you how hot it can get in the car, and you think you can just leave your pets in the car while you're running.
Oh, dude, he is like over explaining this like a motherfucker, dude. Like, that's crazy. He went from crying to being like, I did see a vet recently that, tells you that you're not supposed to leave your kid in a car. Like, what are you researching this shit, dude? Can you change the caption? Yeah, totally. Would you like anything else? I mean, we already have a live captioning service that we're currently using. But on top of that, is there anything that you would like to do? Like, maybe I'll change it to like Comic Sans so you can read it better or something. Like, clearly there is nothing I can do in this situation, okay?
When everyone else out, you can't do that. I watch that. That'd be terrible. If my son's in the car, I would hate that.
Oh my god, dude, that's terrible.
This could be read as Harris trying to get ahead of something very unfavorable he knows is in his web history. Here is an abridged version of the video he's referring to. He watched it just 5 days prior on June 13th.
Hi, I'm Dr. Ernie Ward. You know how veterinarians are always telling you never leave your pet in a parked car? It gets really hot. This is a typical summer's day. So I thought I would put myself in a parked car and let's see just how hot it gets. Come on. And I'm now in the car. I've got all 4 windows cracked down about 1 inch. So let's start a timer and let's see exactly how hot it gets in here. The thermometer is reading at right about 94 degrees, 95 degrees. So it's pretty hot in here, but we're just getting started. So let's just kind of sit back and see how it feels in here. Okay.
This guy dies.
I'm at 5 minutes in. It is unbelievably hot in here. We're nearing 100 degrees already, and I can tell you that it is stifling in here. Even with all 4 windows cracked, there's no breeze at all. It is entirely still in here. It's
dying in a hot car. In parentheses, gone sexual.
It's oppressive. I mean, that's the best word for it. And 10 minutes in, I'll tell you, it is almost unbearable. At this point, the temperature is about 106 degrees. So, I mean, it's just getting to the point now where I can barely stand it. 25 minutes. It's now, oh gosh, what is it? 113 degrees.
Jesus Christ.
It's awful. The only thought that's going through my head right now is I want out of the car. You know, it's just everything in my body is saying, get out.
Oh, this is like a Mr. Beast video, dude. What the fuck? He's just like torturing himself for content. Not dissimilar to what Mr. Beast has done throughout his career.
Get out, get out. I mean, this kills. And it's a lousy way to die. Okay. Made it. 30 minutes. 30 minutes in a parked car with the windows cracked. The temperature right now is about 115, 116. Really hot. What I really wanted to set out to do was see how it felt to be left in a parked car if I were a dog.
Okay, but he didn't die, so he made a terrible fucking video because, like, you know, so what's up?
Dog. And I know what's going on. I'm in control of the situation. What I can't imagine is how helpless and frightening it would be for a dog to be left in a car, not knowing when you're going to come, and slowly but surely having the energy and the life just burnt out of them by this heat.
When I was working for Tulsa Police, we had an officer. He was living for 10 minutes.
Okay, dogs can't fucking sweat, so they have no sweat glands, and they have all that fur. That's why they die, by the way.
The dog had exhaustion immediately. Had the windows up, black.
They sweat through their mouths, like, or they regulate temperature through their mouths.
So I'm aware. I just can't believe. Where's the car seat in your car? I haven't seen the car. It's in the middle. It's in the middle? It's in the middle. What do you even take to work with you? My bag. What kind of bag is it? It's just a over the shoulder. Like a top bag. Where do you keep that in the car? I'll put it in the front seat next to you. So I guess I should not put in the back seat every time. Was that in the front seat today? Yeah. You took it into work with you? I did. Alright. Charge your cell phone now. It's fine. Okay. What's the code? There's a code on it. I think it's my anniversary. Okay. 0527 06. 0526. 500. Yeah. It's 052706. I have no work email on my phone. I require okay. That's what's gonna happen. I'm gonna talk to your wife. I'm gonna have you see you back here, so, okay. No, I'm sorry. I'm gonna put you in the cell back here. Okay. Then you're gonna seat back there.
This is like the equivalent of trying to watch porn through like the censor paywall when I was a kid in Turkey. Okay? But like in YouTube form, where I'm just trying to discern what the fuck he's saying through the 4P. There's like scrambled porn. And you like get real up close to the TV.
Yeah. I know you're not free to leave. Okay. And for everything I'm seeing, you're going to be charged. Okay. Right now, cruelty to child. Okay. I'm not good information.
Okay. That's so chill, dude. He's like, okay. Oh, cruelty to the child. Chill. Yeah, whatever, dude. Sick.
It's information based off that your son was in the hot car all day long. Okay. Okay. And that's what we're supposed to be getting, and it is an investigation, okay? So, I got a lot of other stuff I need to look at. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you have a seat here, I'm going to talk to your wife, and then I'll make my final determination, okay? Okay. Okay, go ahead. Before I do that, I do have to use the restroom. There's a restroom back there. Okay. All right, any other questions? Ross, anything you want to add?
Was completely unintentional.
Okay.
I have no history of child abuse. I have no history of domestic violence. I have no criminal history. I have no record whatsoever. I've worked in a law enforcement environment.
Do you understand our concerns?
Absolutely. Absolutely. But I know I'm a great father. And I have multiple people that would back that up. From daycare to my wife to...
Ross, we're not here to judge you.
I know.
I got to look at,
I understand that there's an incident that happens, right? You're going to ask me questions on which I have invoked my right to answer. There are certain criminal statutes that you have to look at, and if you think that one of them meets the qualifications, that's your decision. I'd like to say I highly disagree. It's absolute accident.
There's accidental, and I believe that it's happening. But to leave the child in the car all day.
The coughing in the background is literally from someone in the courtroom. Because this was shown in its entirety in the courtroom. And someone coughed so hard in the courtroom that this recording showed up. Or showed up in the recording.
On purpose, though. That's what I would look at cruelty.
The argument that Harris is making, that the difference between an action that is cruel and one that is merely negligent comes down to whether or not it was committed intentionally, is of course completely correct. The fact that he is the one making it, however, and is looking at the situation in such an analytical manner in order to mitigate his culpability, mere hours after he claims discovering he essentially burned his son to death, is likely coming across as obscene to the jurors. Morality aside, it should serve as another reminder that it is always better to have an attorney make these arguments for you. You can only talk yourself into trouble, never out of it.
And, and cruelty too, and it doesn't have to be on purpose.
To me, cruelty is
your actions
like my child.
Well, actions that you took today, led up to the death of your child.
Absolutely.
Okay?
But at the same token, it's not like I left that Chick-fil-A and said...
We're almost done with the shitty audio portion of this, and it's going into the court, luckily.
No, he's going to be fine in the car. I would never do that.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never do that.
No, and that's not what we're saying. What I'm saying is by your actions today,
that's what cruelty sounds like.
And I'm trying to explain to you, by your actions, the actions that you took by not taking him to daycare, by leaving him in the car, caused his death.
I disagree slightly.
Okay.
But I mean, that's...
No, why do you disagree?
I'd just rather not talk anymore. I mean, if I'm going to be charged, I would like to have some kind of representation.
Okay, and that is definitely your right. And we're going to end it. It is 7:31. And we'll end our interview. Cool.
So I'm going to talk to my wife. with me in a little bit? I don't know yet. I need to talk to her first.
Harris will be allowed to talk to his wife, and that conversation will also be filmed in the interrogation room. Her conduct will arguably be even more bizarre than his. And oddly enough, you might want to consider chalking that up as a point in the defense column. The behavior you're about to see from Leanna Harris initially increased investigators' suspicions that she—
Oh no. Bro, what the fuck is wrong with these people? Just get an abortion, dude. What the fuck?
He may have been in some way complicit in planning Cooper's death. After closely scrutinizing her though, it became apparent that that was a completely infeasible scenario. You can still find suspicion of Leanna Harris alive and well in online comment sections, but there really is no direct or circumstantial evidence that she would ever have any reason to want Cooper dead, and no one involved with the investigation contends it's a real possibility. That being the case, what you're about to see goes to show that sometimes strange behavior really is evidence of nothing but strange behavior.
Abortion is still murder, though? Are you brain dead? What? No, it's not. What the fuck is wrong with you? I'm just gonna ban this person, I think. Very strange person. Bro, this guy cries a lot. Like, you know, not to be toxically masculine, but like, kind of wild how much he cries.
He looked so peaceful. He wasn't like crazy looking. He looked. So I got out of the car. I got out of the car and I grabbed him and I pulled him out. And I tried to do CPR on him. And I knew he was coming. I was in my life.
Oh, wow. Oh, no, dude. You knew your life was over. That's crazy. Why the fuck is he so chilled? That's so weird. Like, wouldn't you want to murder him? Like, wouldn't you want to fucking murder him at this point? Like, he murdered your son.
Not over, baby. Not over. They're gonna charge me with cruelty, child cruelty. That's why they put me back there in a cell. I took my sheets and took my belt. And I told them, I was like, it's not like I did this on purpose. I said, I got a million people that know that I love that boy in my life. Do I need to get you home?
I'm sorry, boys. She's failing the vibe check right now. I know. I'm afraid I'm gonna have to throw her in jail as well. I know that she's a victim here, but it is what it is, okay? That's just how it works.
Yeah. I said, it's not like I went to the grocery store. I said, oh, she's gonna be fine. I'm just gonna go in for 30 minutes. Did you say too much?
At the time, that was a big red flag. Leanna Harris would later clarify her meaning. Ross Harris was known to habitually embellish and overtalk, and Leanna Harris was so disbelieving of the idea that someone could see her husband as having deliberately murdered Cooper that she wondered if he might have made certain exaggerations that had got him in trouble. Given responding officers perceived his wailing as putting on a show, her theory actually has some merit to it.
Bro, the amount of like him just crying about his circumstance rather than their child and her not recognizing this and just like even for a brief moment being like, yo, you killed our kid, like on accident, but like you still did that? Kind of weird, dude. Okay, this is literally the fucking most like damning shit I've seen so far. In the 43 minutes that we were watching this video, these last 3 minutes have been precisely the most damning, most compelling piece of evidence that this piece of shit 1000% does not give a single fuck about his child that he murdered. He is 1000% more upset about him going to jail than the life that he just took. Whether it was on accident or not, he 100% should have grief over the actions. Like, he should be talking about the kid. And he doesn't even care. He's like, not even thinking about like my life is over, but like the prison cot that I'm going to be sleeping in. Like, what the fuck? He's like visualizing his future, dude. That's crazy to me.
Jail. Like, we're not going to think about that right now. What is, like, I don't know what to do. Mouth was closed. Eyes were closed. And he wasn't looking. He did not look bad. I was trying to, I was telling her I was crying, he was not look different. That's the worst thing was before you think about all your own stuff. That's a weird question. Yeah. Do you think we'll have more kids? Yeah, absolutely. I won't have more kids.
Okay, dude. Come on, chatters. Tell me that's not a fucking vibe check failure, dude. That's a critical vibe check failure. I mean, she might be like processing it very weirdly. But god damn, dude, that is so fucking... Dude, what the fuck? Oh my god. Oh my god, what is happening, dude? Oh my god, dude, what the fuck? That's a critical error, dude. She is being so sus.
The footage from this day.
Oh my god, he said just because we lost one child. What the fuck? Yo, I'm so the only thing that could get worse is if she's like, I'm so horny right now. Come on.
Really is unrelentingly abnormal.
Let's get a fucking head start on this second baby right now.
Directly after losing a pet, it's very common for people to refrain from getting another for a period of time, because to do so immediately will instill them with a sense of guilt for acting as if their previous companion was as easily replaceable as a broken accessory. On the same day as they've lost their first and only child, the Harrises are already discussing making another one. Given there truly is no reason to believe Leanna Harris is culpable, it would be cruel to push that point too hard. You really are witnessing a mother in a severe state of shock, but it's easy to see why detectives didn't immediately move past her. And what of Justin Ross Harris? It certainly doesn't look good, and all of the unfavourable details we've covered serve to turn the tide of public opinion dramatically against him, after an initial burst of sympathy when only the nature of Cooper's death was known. In light of all you've seen so far, you may be thinking there were absolutely no indicators to support his innocence. But as it happens, there were plenty. Here are just a few. Although he certainly expressed resentment of his marriage, all the more loathsome given his turning to his constantly scorned wife for solace, he never conveyed anything but deep affection for his son, in his real or online life. Attempts were made to portray otherwise, but they were all weak in context. He visited the subreddit Child Free, for instance, but this was after being sent a link by a
fucking... Okay, dude. I can smell the Redditor energy off of him, bro. it was just like, I think we should just throw everyone that's on Reddit in jail. Like, yes, I'm aware that that includes me as well, but I'm willing to be a prisoner for public good. You know what I mean? What the fuck is child free? 1.2 million members on this subreddit? They're explaining he got a link to it. He didn't go on it himself.
Friend, and he expressed disapproval. By all accounts, he hated being married, but loved being a dad. That will be illustrated all the more dramatically by his soon-to-be ex-wife's testimony. The consoling attitude of Leanna Harris that you saw in the interrogation room was not long for this world once the extent of her husband's sex addiction came to light. She divorced Harris while he sat in jail awaiting trial and reverted to her maiden name. But all the same, Leanna Taylor took the stand as the defence's star witness. Her position was clear. Harris had ruined her life, she never wanted anything to do with him again, and she could absolutely not believe he would ever purposefully do anything.
There's this subreddit for everything, dude, including apparently
transgender pride,
a subreddit for shaming people for having children. Like, I often joke about how, like, babies are stupid, lol, like, you know, they just kind of suck. They can't really have like a fun conversation with a baby, you know what I mean? Like a long period until like a baby is like eligible for being chill. But that's just jokes, you know what I'm saying? What the fuck is wrong with these people? r/child free is such a bad place that an actual child murderer said it wasn't for him.
To harm Cooper. Given his web and sexting history looked so damning, you would expect him to have made some attempt at clearing all of that data from his phone and computers. And as he was an IT professional, he would have been more capable of it than most. As much as his activities during the day might seem like cues that should have set off alarm bells in Harris's mind, they also present problems for the prosecution. Why would Harris search for child passport costs if he had no intention of paying for one? It could be that he was deliberately conducting himself as if all was normal, so he could make that exact argument if he was investigated. But that raises the issue of his phone and web history again. Either he was anticipating scrutiny or he wasn't. There was absolutely no benefit to Harris returning to his car during the day if he wanted to help bolster the notion he had forgotten Cooper all that time. It would have been far more advantageous to simply take the light bulbs back to his desk and then take them to the car at the end of his shift when he was gearing up for the big reveal. In a similar vein, why leave the treehouse parking lot at all? Every extra second Harris is in the car with Cooper takes away from the believability that he could have been totally unaware of his son's presence. The prosecution argued he drove to the Acres Mill parking lot to make more of a scene. That doesn't make any sense. There was plenty of foot traffic coming and going from the treehouse office. Putting on a frantic performance right there and then would have been of no disadvantage to selling his story. Harris's attorney, Maddox Kilgore, pushed on all of this and much more at trial, which is available in its entirety online.
Child free. Why are we charged pet fees but what the fuck? That was weird. Did I just get... Am I fucking hacked or what? What the fuck was that? Why aren't we charged pet fees, but couples with kids aren't charged children fees? I just moved to a new apartment, and upstairs neighbors are the spawn of Satan. They have what looks to be around a 2-year-old and a 5-year-old. They let him scream, jump, yell, and do whatever they want, no matter what it is. I'm a figure skater training for the European Championships and World Championships, which means many early mornings waking up at 4 to go train. I'm not sleeping until 1 or 2 in the morning because if these kids, I have 2 cats and pay a fortune for them to not do damage besides the occasional scratches on the carpet. What the dude, Redditors literally need to go to jail. I think half of the posts on the website on like most subreddits is just a self-report that you're just a criminal who hasn't done crimes yet. Okay? Like half the time I read a post on Reddit, I'm like, that's written by someone who luckily has not acted on their urges yet. Okay? You know what I mean? Like written by an absolute psycho, dude. Like instead of being like kind of fucked up that, you know, we have to pay landlords this like ridiculous fee for our animals or whatever. Yeah, she's a pre-criminal. Instead of getting upset at the landlord, getting upset at the person who has bred and had children. What the fuck? And then mentioning that anger in the child-free subreddit.
Line. It's a great example of both the state and the defense delivering superb presentations.
Unlike a lot of cases, in this case, we know what was in the defendant's mind that morning. Legally, you're going to hear that motive does not have to be proven in a criminal case. Now, we know that people commit horrible acts against children for no good reason. Unfortunately, it's just a fact of the world we live in. But in this case, he saw this post that morning. I hate being married with kids. The novelty has worn off, and I have nothing to show for it.
Damn, this motherfucker went to Kinko's for this shit, dude. Look at him. He's like, he's really doing it. You know, he's doing a good service here.
Now they're going to say, oh, he saw a lot of posts. But think about it. When you know the timing in this case, within that 45 minutes of all the whisper posts in all the world, what did he seek out to not only view, but respond to commiserate with, while he is on the way to Chick-fil-A and while he's sitting there with this son, who to everybody else he portrays, I love him, I'm a great father, things like that. Which one side of him? He probably did. But guess what? That took a back seat. Because he responded and showed us exactly what his intent was and what was in his mind. He told this person he couldn't live his other life the way he wanted. His wife complained about him going out. He wanted to go out all the time, go out with other people. And most importantly, 10 minutes before he killed Cooper, he actually said that he needed an escape. Implied malice. Now, what is that? It's when no considerable provocation appears and when all of the circumstances of the killing show an abandoned and malignant heart. This killer's heart abandoned this child long before he died. This defendant's heart abandoned this child when he left him to die a terrible death in that car, when he came back to check the scene at lunch, maybe even to make a discovery in front of his friends there until they pulled off too quickly. Quite possibly discovering, as we've heard from the evidence, that Cooper could have been alive in that car. And abandoning him yet again. And sat there malignantly while that child cooked in that car. That, ladies and gentlemen, in this case, is the epitome of an abandoned and malignant heart.
I mean, pretty open and shut, dude. You don't get him like this usually. Why am I talking like a seasoned detective? You know, I've done a lot of cases. Watched a lot of cases on YouTube after, you know, the conviction is out. And You don't often have someone literally just like straight up report on the timeline that they are trying to do a murder or close to it.
I know a lot of people talk about premeditation. Is there premeditation? Remember this at all times. There is no premeditation at all. We don't have to prove that he woke up that morning and at 7:55 decided, you know what, I'm going to murder my child. Unfortunately, most cases like this are a crime of opportunity. When it presents itself, when your mind gets in that point, you do it. A lot of people give examples of how quick malice can be formed. And they snap, because it's that quick. Malice can be formed in an instant, and the judge is going to tell you that. As soon as the defendant decided and formed that in his mind and said, you know what, I'm shutting the door on this child, that's malice. There's no premeditation required. Although the evidence screams that he'd been thinking about this for quite some time. Finally, is that how the crime scene looked? On June 18, 2014? Is that photo accurate? The car seat the defendant put him in at Chick-fil-A, kissed him, navigated changing lanes on the way to that parking lot? Is that the car seat?
You haven't been paying attention, but is there any evidence beyond a reasonable doubt that he did intentionally kill his child beyond he had bad vibes? He was unhappy in his marriage. He was unhappy with his children or with his child. He literally looked behind multiple times in the ride over to recognize that his child was in the car. They like show that there was like 3 left turns. And lastly, that he came back.
What a wild ride. Thanks for welcoming me.
He watched the tutorial on fucking, you know, how to do that, but
has spooked.
Thanks
for everything.
Lastly, he literally came back at the lunch break. His friends drove him to Publix. He came back. He went to Home Depot. He got like a light bulb, and he literally threw the light bulb into his car without looking into his car when his fucking dead child was in the back seat at that point.
And how it looked when he passed the parking.
But most importantly, he's a Redditor. Like, he just like routinely goes on Reddit.
Spot on the right. Is this the same parking seat, the same car seat as when he backed up? Backed up like this and pulled straight. Is that the same car seat that was in there? And how it looked when he was in there for 30 seconds on June 18, 2014? Is that how the car seat looked when that child left Chick-fil-A wide awake, being excited for school? Is that the same car seat that the defendant had to reach by to pick up his work bag to go into work that morning, that we saw him walk in, that he admitted he got from his passenger seat? Is that the same car seat that he got back into that afternoon?
He did it.
And within 3 seconds sped off and drove for some time with that child there, having been baking all day in that car, making those turns all the way there on a route that he shouldn't have taken? Ladies and gentlemen, it all comes back to this. That's how that car seat looked on June 18th. The defendant's guilty of all counts. Thank you.
The state has not disproven that this was an accident. It is their burden to do so. And there's a reason why they can't disprove beyond a reasonable doubt that it was an accident, and that's because it was. Ross is charged with murder in 3 different ways, okay? And what you really need to understand is this: they're all the same. They are all the same. We don't have...
Man, Ted Cruz wishes he looked this much like a human, bro. You guys are saying he's Ted Cruz, but like, this fucking dude, he looks a lot more human than Ted Cruz. And I say this as I know that he's a defense attorney, okay?
Murder in Georgia. It's not first degree or second degree or third. Murder is murder is murder. Whether he's convicted of count 1, 2, or 3, if he's convicted of any count, they're all the same in Georgia. State wants to suggest that Ross wanted to escape from Cooper so bad that he would destroy the treasure of his life. I submit to you this.
YouTube fam.
To do what they're suggesting that he did, knowingly and intentionally, to do that, there's got to be some pretty serious hatred. I don't mean just dislike. I mean, there's got to be some real serious ill will or hatred toward that little boy. The kind that would permeate your life and pour out of your pores, that everybody around you would see and hear and know and realize and pick up on, but not one witness has indicated anything like that. I love my son and all, but we both need escapes. Sounds exactly like Ross.
How would you know?
But what he doesn't say is what the state suggests.
You don't know what he sounds like. You've been his defense attorney for like however long now. Like, sounds exactly like Ross. It's crazy.
That he's saying. I love my son and all, but I'm about to murder him in the next 15 minutes.
Oh, wow. This is called, he didn't literally say it, defense, which is, of course, most famously applied by racists caping for other racists. The N-word defense, as I like to call it, where if the person has not said the N-word, that means they are not racist. This is what racist people will use as a defense. He didn't literally say it out loud, so that must mean he's not guilty. Another common term for it is the Shapiro technique. Okay. Yeah, Steve Crowder applied it earlier today. It's a very chill technique.
That's essentially what the state is telling you that says. Yeah, not that, but the response. I love my son and all, but I'm about to murder him in the next 15.
Can you explain the use of the N-word by black people when other black people have said don't use that word? What? What? I don't know what that is.
15 minutes. Of course, he doesn't say that. And it doesn't suggest that either. Go ahead. Play the video.
Bro, this is so fucked.
You do it. Go.
Dude, what the fuck are they doing, bro? I love that the fucking defense here basically is like, he could not have murdered his child because, like, look, he's having fun with him at this other random point in time. What an insane defense. Now you know what Cooper's mom has known along. It was an accident. Oh my God. Oh damn, that's bad.
We trust you. From 9 to 9:20 a.m. approximately, the defendant is in Chick-fil-A eating with Cooper. During that time, he responds to a message from Magnolia Blonde, a woman he'd been carrying on a conversation with earlier, sexual in nature. And at 9:15 a.m., he says, "I love my son and all, but we both need escapes." That's the time. Undisputed, the times, 9:20:30 a.m., the defendant and Cooper walk out of Chick-fil-A. And these are all times confirmed. Confirmed that these were accurate. Confirmed by Greg Sanders at Home Depot. Confirmed by R.B. Smith with Cobb County Police, checking the times of the phones, checking the times of the receipts, checking the times of the videos at Chick-fil-A, and accounting for any difference in time. He continues the conversation. Agreed hug, we both need that, at 9:24:28 while still in the car with Cooper. 9:24:42 a.m., he first appears on one of the treehouse parking lot camera videos coming in the side area. 9:25:38, car comes to a stop, and at 9:26:15, the defendant shuts the door on Cooper. And you saw all that time in there he was sitting. Over 30 seconds in the car with that child. And you remember the defense showed you that one video where he parked kind of up close and he's in the car for a while? Y'all remember seeing how he was in there moving around, going to get this, going to get that? Ain't no way he missed that shot.
Top of the hour, Dankies, top of the hour.
You've heard a lot.
That's the worst part about it. That's actually the worst. That's the most damning piece of evidence in my mind. Is that like he went back to the fucking car and didn't notice that his son was in the back seat? Like, that's crazy, dude. That's fucking bullshit.
About excuses for this defendant, which have been turned away at every stop. But who's going to speak for Cooper? Who speaks for Cooper? The witnesses and the officers at that scene who carried that burden of what they saw that day? Who cared more about that child on June 18th than this defendant? Defendant who was concerned and crying finally when he was worried about the metal toilet he's going to have to use the bathroom in and the uncomfortable cot. Woe is me. The child was dead.
Almost as crazy as this top of the hour ad break.
The evidence speaks for Cooper.
True.
And they can't bring him back. But what can be done is justice. And you as a jury have the opportunity to do that justice. Now there's a Latin phrase that hangs over the Supreme Court. And I'm not going to say I know Latin, I can speak Latin for the darn, but I do know what it says. And it translates to this. Let justice be done, though the skies may fall. In this case, justice is justice for Cooper in that call. Justice in this case is a verdict of guilty. Justice in this case is holding this defendant responsible. Thank you.
The verdict is in proper form to be received by the court. At this time, I'm going to ask the clerk to publish the verdict. Thank you, Mr. Phillips.
In the Superior Court, Cobb County, State of Georgia versus Justin Ross Harris, defendant, case number 14.
Honestly, this is probably the worst audio I've ever experienced on a fucking YouTube video. Like, true crime, not true crime. Like, it was just bad all across the board. It was bad on every part of the video.
9-3124, verdict form. We, the jury, find as follows: count 1, malice murder. As to count 1, we find the defendant guilty. This 14th day of November.
I high-key don't think this guy is guilty. I don't think he can be proven beyond a reasonable doubt in this situation. That's nuts, dude. That's
7
nuts.
months foggers.
The moment that he walks back into his fucking car and sees the baby, he literally knows it's top of the hour. Every hour is time for a 60-second ad break. Okay, and if you'd like to no longer see the ads, all you need to do is subscribe. I'm so delirious. I'm sorry. I shouldn't have done that. Some things are sacred, and I fucking defiled that. Okay. That one was poor taste. That one was in poor taste, for sure. Okay. If you'd like to no longer see the ads, I'm not even going to do it. Here's the ad break. I don't care. Fuck. Okay.
One thing that's always frustrating about televised trials is that you get to see just about everything except for the jury deliberating. The question of whether Cooper Harris was murdered or killed by accident is one that comes down to deciding what was inside Justin Ross Harris's head that day. We'll never know exactly why the jurors felt they could make a call on that beyond a reasonable doubt. Perhaps the extent of Harris's personal failings cast his character in such a negative light they couldn't bring themselves to view his actions charitably. His extremely strange behaviour in the interrogation room may have just been too bizarre for them to reconcile with genuine grief expressing itself in an atypical manner. It could have been a matter of taking on board every single thing presented to them more or less equally, and ultimately just feeling like there was far too much of an imbalance in favour of factors pointing toward guilt. Or maybe it was one of those cases where there were plenty of arguments from either side to go back and forth on, and barring one specific detail, they may have come back with not guilty verdicts. But every time they started to drift in that direction, that one specific detail was just something they could never get past.
The fact that he never saw, the fact that he, like, nah, it's a wrap. Like he just never saw the fucking child. No shot. Like, no, oh my God, this is from earlier today. I forgot to close this tab. Look at this. This is like literally the first tab I opened today, boys. That's crazy. Okay. We're making a return. It's been a long time, my friends. But we're making a fucking return. We're making a fucking return. Alright, it's been a fucking long time. It's been a fucking long time. It's time to make a fucking return to gaming. Alright? Done. It's fucking done.